What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gooner channel. We're live, and here's your 10 o'clock news on Thursday, the 12th of September, 2024. There is no news today. There is just one item of news, and that is that Mikel Arteta has agreed a 3-year contract extension, taking him to 2027. It was announced today that he will be, he's been backed by Stan Kroenke, Josh Kroenke, Edu, and all the others. Now, let's go quickly over to the interview that he did, where it was broadcast. Let's have a little bit of a look at this. As you can see, I'm totally up with all of the technology. Here we go. Oh, don't like that. That's better. We don't need so much of him. More of me. Anyway, so this is Arteta on it.
With Arsenal.
I feel so happy. I feel very proud. Really special day. Very excited and just looking forward, looking ahead what is coming, and very, very excited.
It feels like there's a strong working relationship between everyone at the club. That bond must have made the decision to extend your contract a natural one.
It was the people and it was the ambition of the club. I feel extremely lucky to work every single day with.
Well, so you, I want to hear from you basically, because this has been a conversation This has been a conversation that's been being had. You know, people saying that maybe he wasn't going to sign a contract extension. Why hadn't he signed a contract extension, etc., etc. I don't think I ever felt that there was any doubt that he would sign it. He gave a pretty frank interview saying that he was really happy. And look, it's Arsenal. So I think actually, as a man with no experience in football management, he did incredibly well to get the job. He obviously impressed Stan Kroenke a great deal. He did before Unai Emery was given it. In fact, the stories, Charles Watts' book on this is pretty good. And it's all about how Stan Kroenke felt very confident in Mikel Arteta when he met him. But everyone told him, look, this is football. You need to go with a man who has the experience. And he chose Unai Emery. But those of us who remember the end of the Unai Emery reign will remember just what a farce it was. It just wasn't good football. We had that awful Europa Cup League final against Chelsea. We had the Frankfurt game where no one turned up and we lost. It was drab. There were egos. It felt a little bit like it did just before George Graham came in, and not dissimilar to George Graham. One of the big things that Arteta has had to do is get rid of some of the egos that were in the dressing room and that were holding us back. That cabal of German players who took against Arteta pretty quickly, including Ozil, but not limited to Ozil. He has transformed the club quite seriously, but this has not been a universally well-received decision. And before coming on air, I had a brief communication. I've sent a communication to Carl Walsh. Now, Carl Walsh, for those of you who don't know, is somebody who appeared on the show before, somebody I think very highly of. But Carl and I have completely different opinions on Mikel Arteta and the way the club's being run. I saw a video on his channel, Carl Walsh, go and check him out, in which he was saying that it's a disaster. He was very downbeat. I'm not going to clip it and I'm not going to put it on here because the two of us have agreed to do a debate on this subject. And it wouldn't be fair to put words in his mouth. He's incredibly eloquent, highly intelligent, and can debate this on his own. Now, for me, this has been one of the things this season that's kept me from being really enthusiastic. It's this bubbling under, this undercurrent of antipathy towards Mikel Arteta, which I find really difficult to understand. But I know it's there. I know that there are Arsenal fans who just don't rate and love Mikel Arteta and would rather see someone else come in. And I did a video. I'm sure you've all seen it, right? But I did a video on the subject of whether Arteta should stay or not. And I got a comment underneath it, which I would describe as fairly typical in this arena. I would say, on my video was basically Should this be Arteta's last season? And the reason I asked that question was because it came up in a live stream on Sunday where Anthony came in and said, if Arteta doesn't win silverware this season, should this be his last season? And I replied on the Sunday night, it's a really difficult question to answer in that way. You can't just say, look, if he doesn't win silverware, he's out. You have to look at how the season went and the progress in the season. But on the subject, I decided to do a video, and I explained that. I went over what I thought were acceptable parameters. If he fell below those, we'd have to have a discussion point. And on that video, I received the following comment. Now, I'm going to read the comment out to you. It's from David Bowen 6284. I haven't responded in written form yet because I just think with some of these comments that you guys leave, and particularly ones like this where it's, honestly, it's a well considered, it's well thought out, and it's always nice to see people that are trying to engage with the channel, and I don't want to put anyone off. And I think sometimes it's not doing justice to a comment to just reply with a few well-chosen words. But he writes, United were fallible under Fergie and City aren't. And this relates to the fact that I said we won the league in 97, 98 because Man United were fallible. And the reality of that is that we won the league in 98 having won 78 points, I think. My apologies. And last season, we got 89 points. So 78, 89. So Arteta did 11 points better than Arsene Wenger did in the 97-98 season, which was a fantastic season. Bookies had paid out on Manchester United, and somehow we managed to go on a kind of really long streak. We beat Man United at Old Trafford, something we weren't able to do with City. So on that point where he says, so United were fallible under Fergie and City aren't, I would say that if we had the 97-98 squad had scored the points they did, they would have finished fourth in last year's Premier League. So it's definitely harder to win it against Man City than it was in 97-98. Then he goes on to say, in fact, let me share this screen so you can read along with it. So you may be interested in seeing. And this always takes me a moment. Apologies. Talk amongst yourselves. Also, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click like. As soon as you click like, people turn up, and then there's more debate. Here we go. There's already 3 of you now. But look, it says here, United were fallible under Fergie. In fact, can you even see that? Is it worth doing? Probably not. Take my word for it, or go and check the video out. But United were fallible under Fergie and City aren't. I definitely think that the Manchester United side that we beat in 97-98 were not as good as the Man City side we came second to yesterday. Nottingham Forest beat City the year before last. Fact check. No, they didn't. It was a 1-1 draw. So that's not true. In fact, Nottingham Forest last beat Manchester City in 2009. In the last season, we lost to teams that we should have beaten, like Southampton. Not true either. We haven't lost to Southampton since April 22. The season we weren't able to qualify for Champions League. In fact, Arsenal only lost the league last year because they didn't beat teams like Villa. It's true. We lost the league last season because we didn't win all of our games. In the calendar year of 2024, we've lost to Aston Villa, and that was enough for the less than fallible Manchester City to go on and win. Arsenal haven't won the league because in critical moments, they've not been strong enough mentally, which is backed by their goal difference and goals for and goals against being comparable to City. I don't understand this. Surely the fact that we scored 5 goals fewer than Manchester City and conceded 5 goals fewer means that we did almost as well as them. And as I never tire of saying, it is worth thinking about it in these terms, particularly with the North London derby coming up. Had Jorginho not given the ball away in the North London derby and we'd held on for a 2-1 win, we would have won the league last season. If Paulinho's well-taken goal from a corner when Fulham came to the Emirates in the second home game of last season, had that not gone in, if it had deflected wide because Gabriel had been playing instead of being on the bench, if any of those things had happened, we would have won the league last season. It came down to one goal. So small a margin as that over a 38-game season. But our goal for and goals against being comparable to Man City is a good thing. He goes on to say, and using the term that I think we should all hate as Arsenal fans, we bottled it, because he keeps buying talented enigma who are being let go because they've proven they're not the elite level mentally to maximize their talent. Now, I don't know who you mean here, David Bowen 6284, because I can understand if you think we've bought fragile egos that can't quite cut it and we won't win the league because of these talented enigma. But we haven't let any go. It's only Fabio Vieira that's gone, and that's only on loan. I think he meets the criteria you're talking about here. But we bottled it because we keep buying enigma who are being let go because they've proven not elite level mentality. And then you go on to say, in critical moments, they won't deliver. And I think that's fair that, in critical moments, they won't deliver. It's a sort of thing you say about teams that come second. But I want to point out to you that we scored 1 point fewer than the Invincibles. And no one's ever questioned their mentality. 12 draws they got, no defeats, 26 wins. Well, we won 28 games last season. 1 point fewer, scored more goals. If a manager is measured by his achievements in terms of winning points, then Arteta's achievement last year is only bettered by the Invincibles. Of the 5 leagues we've won in my lifetime, 4 of them didn't achieve as many points as we did last season. In critical moments, they won't deliver. Havertz, Jesus, and Odegaard. Now, there is a point here about Jesus. I don't think any of us can get away from it. I really love watching Jesus. He's injured far too often. And, when he's one-on-one with a keeper, you don't always back him to score, just like you don't always back Havertz to score. But Havertz is one of the form frontmen of the league over this calendar year. And Odegaard has been captain in what is a transformative period. He's been captain of a team that accumulated 28 wins. Must be doing something right. Here it says there's no fight in Odegaard. Jesus and Havertz lack confidence in spades. Nketiah and Smith-Rowe lack belief in themselves. And I would say that's probably why Arteta got rid of Nketiah and Smith-Rowe. I don't know if it's as simple as confidence or belief, but in any case, they're gone now. This also comes down to Arteta only wanting yes men, nice boys. Also, Arteta could be the big dog and protect his fragile ego. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't think Arteta has an ego. I think to be the leader of a group of people, to want to be manager, to want to be in charge, you need an ego. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think that the one thing that Arteta's ego needs more than anything is to win this league. And I think that that's the only thing that matters to him at the moment. This nonsense of who they're up against is an excuse. So you're saying that my point that we're up against Man City and that we came second to City is an excuse. Well, I'm not sure it is. Like I said, if we'd scored 89 points in the 97-98 double season, we would have won the league with 4 games to spare. And he goes on here, he says, why don't we keep Arteta indefinitely if he comes second to Pep? See how ridiculous this argument is. Yeah, it's ridiculous because you're introducing the idea of indefinitely. I said on my video that if we fall away, if we don't do well and we finish second to Man City, but we say finish on 83 points, you have to start asking questions. You have to look at the performances. You have to see what games we've won and lost and why that's happening. And then he goes on to say, let me ask you a question. When will there be any jeopardy for Arteta, a predefined consequence, or are we only allowed to base our decisions on hindsight when a season is done? Well, you base decisions like this on hindsight because if you've backed somebody and you think they're the right person to do it, it seems strange to then immediately sack them. So, yeah, hindsight's when a season is done. Meanwhile, whilst you have doubts pre-season, you're giving him more funds to waste. To be clear, and I think today's news proves this conclusively, I don't think Stan Kroenke has any doubts. I don't think Josh Kroenke or Edu have any doubts about Mikel Arteta, but it's clear that some of our fan base do. It's clear that today's news has not been received universally as positive. And I find that really strange. And like I said, I have reached out to Kyle. We are planning to do a debate about it. It'll be a friendly debate. We will most likely not come to agreement. And in the end, we will part this debate as friends. But I understand that football is a game about opinions. You know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But this idea that we've given Arteta a huge amount of money and he wasted. I mean, who are the players that you don't want? You know, would you not have signed Odegaard? Would you not have signed? Look, you know, I'm not going to go through the players, but Saliba was a pre-Arteta signing. Saka was pre-Arteta. Martinelli was pre-Arteta. But then everybody else, Benny Blanco, you know, listen, Havertz. I wasn't a fan of the signing, but I think we can all agree he's done quite well, can't we? And more deadwood to shift when he's gone. He's Southgate 2.0. I will address this question, you know, I've addressed it often. And I'd kind of like to think that at the start of this season, we can all stop talking about whether we're Arteta in or Arteta out. But I have a feeling that we're not going to. I have a feeling that every single time a result goes against us, we're going to be faced with this debate. We're going to face the questions around, you know, what's he done? What's he achieved? Nobody who dislikes Arteta will give him credit for progress. Nobody will say, look, he came into the club at a time when it was in disarray and he's turned us into a club that is competing at the highest level, not just with Manchester City, but with our own history. Kyle, on his video, talked about the fact that when he'd started supporting Arsenal, we had really high standards. And there is that little moment in our history where that's definitely true. But I started supporting this club in 1983, 12 years since we'd won a league, and there was no sign of anything like that. Our standards were not high enough. George Graham came in and got rid of some of our favourite players, but built a team that was able to win in 89. 89 was a whisker away from being a second place. How different Arsenal's history would have been if instead of that second fabulous goal at Anfield, we hadn't scored it. This is a debate that's going to keep raging on. And it seems to be raging on because people do not feel that Arteta has done enough. They do not feel that coming second behind City is worthy of credit. Now, there is a principle in psychology known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is that very often people over imagine their own abilities. You will have done so yourself. You know, you see somebody playing guitar, you think, well, how hard can that be? It's not until you actually try and do something you get a sense of just how difficult it is. I get a feeling that a lot of people are watching Mikel Arteta and thinking, well, why doesn't he just win the league? If he just goes out and buys players that are good enough, you know, goes and buys Victor Osimhen. And I don't know why he isn't. Maybe that is the answer. But I think to look at how he's done, you look at people who are frustrated with him. And I've said a few times now this season already that all these people that talk about standards, and that's what's so divisive about this conversation, because the people who feel like Arteta is ruining our club and keeping us from our destiny of winning the league and the Champions League, although we've never won the Champions League before. And even in the last 50 years, our most successful period since the 30s, we only win the league every 10 years. We never did a back-to-back. All of these things being said, Arteta's progress has not yielded silverware, and therefore it's down to people to criticize him and say, oh, you haven't achieved anything. You're not good enough. A proper manager would have done it by now. Let alone, you know, far from ever admitting the fact that I know that Arteta hasn't won the league, but nobody else has won the league. Other teams have not won the league. It's been Man City, a dominant Man City. It feels a little bit like it was in the 80s where Liverpool couldn't be beaten until that glorious night at Anfield. That Mikel Arteta hasn't achieved what you wanted him to. For me, what's distasteful about it is that These people who say that feel so certain in their confidence. Say, Arteta is not the man to do it. But you know what? They never have. They never have anyone that they suggest. It's easy to be in the back of a car saying you're going the wrong way, that there's a better route. To be that backseat driver to say, we're not getting where I want to go fast enough. Let me say this, that they're being critical, and that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. To be a critic of somebody who is doing something that you have no idea how to do. But from the outside, people like David Bowen, and I'm not trying to be harsh, but, I will say that to you, it all seems so simple. We haven't signed the right players. We haven't, we lost a game this calendar year. That's why we didn't win the league. We should never have lost to Villa. We lost to Villa twice. Once controversially because Kai Havertz should have equalised, but for the fact everyone handballed it. Once, frustratingly, we did fall apart. There's a young team here, and sometimes they don't win when you really need them to. But to call them bottlers seems easy. Seems like people have the highest possible standards for other people. Really high standards for other people when I don't know how high your standards for yourselves are. Are you world-class in what you do? How many of us could tolerate somebody watching our lives from the outside and saying, do better, do more, get more, win more? You're critics, and you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to sit on the sidelines and say, it's not good enough. But you don't have an alternative strategy in mind. I see it over and over again, people critical of Mikel Arteta. And none of us know if he's going to be the man to deliver silverware. None of us know if he's ever going to be able to beat Man City. We don't know if this season's going to fall apart because we're a bit threadbare and we're going to the Tottenham game on Sunday without the midfield we wanted to have playing. We go away to City after that. What if we lose both games? The clamour for change, the anger amongst our fan base, which just bubbles underneath the surface all the time. That will grow into a louder and louder clamour. And critics will again and again say, he's got to go. And when you ask them, well, who would you replace him with? When you say, who would you bring in to replace Mikel Arteta? They say, that's not the point. That's not the point. But I think it is the point. I think if you've got no strategy for doing it better, if you think that Arteta's cost us the league because, he didn't care enough in the game against Villa, if you don't think that he's entirely dedicated to the cause of winning the Premier League and gives more time away from his family, more of his life spent in pursuit of this than we've ever spent, any of us fans. If to us fans it looks like, well, like I win every season on Football Manager, why don't you just do what I do? If it was as easy to win the Premier League as you seem to think it is, probably be more than 11 men in the history of the Premier League who've done it. There are not. But you're critics. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to sit on the sidelines and say, not good enough. I want better. I demand more for my club, and I'm angry that no one else seems to have these high demands. I'm angry that other fans seem happy with progress, that they're just happy that we're not struggling to make the top four anymore. Top four is not a trophy, you tell us. Top four is not good enough. We want to win the silverware. We want the Premier League. We want the Champions League. We tore down Highbury, which is still there, by the way. We were promised that if we tore down Highbury, that we would win the Champions League. Well, you're an idiot if you believed that. And I was there, and I don't remember that being the agreement. I don't remember them saying we're tearing down Highbury, so we want to compete. And right now, we are competing. We're just not winning. We tore down Highbury because our match day attendance couldn't exceed 32,000 for the Champions League. Season ticket holders couldn't get season tickets. Think of the people that have gone to an Arsenal match since we left Highbury who would not have been able to do so at Highbury. And I say that as somebody who went regularly to Highbury. Many seasons I didn't miss a home game. It was really hard to get tickets. Lots of people I know never got to see him. So we left Highbury because at the time, match day revenue was the largest single revenue. Of course, in the time we left Highbury, commercials have taken over. But that's not what people remember. They remember Peter Hill Wood saying, and not that he did, but they talk about how, we were promised things. We were promised we would win trophies. You can't be promised that. It doesn't work like that. You're critics and you find it easy to point out what hasn't gone well, but you have no strategy or plan for anything else. You want us to go and sign Pep Guardiola. I'm on this with you. I agree. Let's go and get Pep Guardiola. Let's get Saudi money. Let's move the Cronkies to one side. Let's break all the PSR rules and FFP rules and buy everybody. Kylian Mbappe all the way through. It's easy to be a critic. It's easy to look at something somebody's done and give them their blood, sweat and tears to and say, I don't like it. I want better. And if they ask you how it can be done better, you say, I don't know. It's not my job. It's your job to do it. I just want better. But a famous Theodore Roosevelt quote that I really like here about the critic is that it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by sweat and blood and dust, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. That is the critic to me. That is the person who says, it's not good enough, I want better, but has never done better or anything like it. If you can hold yourself up to those high standards of which you demand from Mikel Arteta, then what's your plan? What's your strategy? Because I think when a manager comes along and gets 89 points, 28 victories, we've lost one league game this calendar year. It's the middle of September. Zanzibarian, thank you. You're the one who knows the difference. So I'm guessing you just had stuff to do. Fantastic to see you. I have been ranting for nearly 30 minutes about why I think that Mikel Arteta's 3-year contract extension is a good thing. But it is not universally approved of. I think we can all agree with that. I've seen so many people accuse those of us who are happy about it to having low standards. Carl, who I keep mentioning on his video, talked about when David Seaman arrived at Arsenal, talked about it as a club that had these really high standards. But I would question that really of Dave Seaman, because Dave Seaman arrived in 1990. And at that point, we'd won one league since 1971. And even that was the last gasp where we nearly bottled it. 97, 98, as I've already pointed out, fantastic achievement for our club. But 78 points. 78 points we won that season by. 78 points. And last season we got 89 points, and it's not enough. The Invincibles won 26 games. Last season we won 28, but it's not enough. I said it on the video that was quoted on there. I said, what if we did finish this season unbeaten? And of course, we've got the North London derby coming up, so that's not a given at all, is it? But what if we did win the league? Sorry, what if we did go a league unbeaten. We do another Invincibles. Only the second time it's ever happened. We get 96 points, 95 or 96 points, something ridiculous like that. Unbeaten, 95 points, but Man City top it by goal difference, or they get 96 points. Would you sack Arteta then? Can't you give Arteta some credit for completely outperforming every other manager? I mean, God knows Tottenham have been through six managers. Chelsea have been through, what, 6 or 7? Depends on who you count. Stellini and Mason for Tottenham. Potter and Pochettino and Tuchel. I mean, there is only one manager in the Premier League who has won the Premier League. It's a really tough ask. Mikel Arteta today with a 3-year extension. It's football as well. It's not like this means definitively that he's not going anywhere. If he has a really bad season, just like I said, what if he won 95 points? Could you sack him? I'm sure there are people out there that would sack him. There's people out there that would say, well, 90, it doesn't matter how many points you get. If we went the entire season and the only points we dropped were against Brighton, but Man City won, I know that's not actually mathematically possible, I'm just realizing. But let's say we get 79 points a season. It's a shambles. It's a shit show. It's a fiasco by modern standards, by the current standards of our club with the squad it has. What if we get 78 points, 79 points this season, and we've dropped points all over the place, but we beat City? Is Arteta's achievement in that context better than the 89 points last season? Of the last 5 league titles we've won, 89 points is second in the total, behind only the Invincibles. Even if we win the league unbeaten with the exact same stats as the Invincibles, people will still moan, well, City are not as good as they used to be. Yeah. It just feels like, where does this antipathy come from? Where does this frustration, this anger? It's almost like people are supporting Manchester United, that we have a fan base like the Man United fan base. When they come in and go, well, I started supporting this club, we were winning things. That's right. It does change. Arsenal have always been a top flight club. But I've seen people saying recently on different channels, this is the word, when we were 15th. I remember when George Graham left, or was sacked, sorry. That season was a shit show. We finished, I think, 15th. Then we had the wilderness of the Bruce Rioch years. Before George Graham had transformed us into a side that could go to Anfield and win. Actually, I would give more credit to the 91 season, where we only lost 1 game all season. That was a hell of an achievement. I really thought from that point we'd kick on. But we didn't. By 93, we had 92, which was an ignominious year for us, losing the FA Cup 3rd round to Wrexham. Nothing really good in 92. And then there's the example of the 99 season, where arguably we were the best we'd been, but Man United just pipped us to the treble, beat us in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, pipped us on the last day to the league, and then went on to win Champions League. And we did really badly in the Champions League in the first couple of seasons under Arsene Wenger. Arteta has done better in his first go at it. But Arteta seems to be divisive. And I don't think he's really divisive. I'd love to hear from you, what your comments. And if you haven't clicked like yet, please do. Let's get some likes going on this video. Let's get some people watching. And let me know what you think. In the video I did... generally speaking, on this channel, on the Gooner channel, we're almost always pro Arteta. We're happy with progress and we're enjoying the club. I look at the team now and I think Ray is an outstanding goalkeeper. Saliba is potentially a Ballon d'Or winning centre-back. Gabriel's got that fight about him. Benny Blanco, Ben Tan, Right back, I think he's outstanding, and I love his spirit and his character and his fight. On the left, Jurrien Timber could prove to be a really good signing, but I'm a fan of Zinchenko as well. I think Zinchenko has helped us to build that kind of defensiveness. We don't concede goals often anymore. We certainly don't have the chaos of the end of the Wenger era. Thomas Partey was a great signing. It's been a career at Arsenal beset by injuries. But he's 2 years ago was one of the best midfielders in the country. It's a shame that he picked up so many injuries. Declan Rice, Rolls-Royce, an outstanding midfielder. Martin Odegaard, at first a good loan. I love our team all the way through. Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, Havertz up front. Jesus, yes, he's profligate. Yes, he doesn't score enough, but he's still sixth in the Premier League overall for contributions to goals. It's not a terrible signing then, is it? I am genuinely baffled by the outpouring of discontent that attends the contract extension of Arteta. But I wonder where we are on this. I wonder how divided we are. And I wonder, and I'm yet to hear, hopefully if Kyle comes on and does a live debate with me, perhaps he can tell me what he would do. It is really easy to just say it's not good enough, isn't it? I mean, you can apply that to any team, can't you? You can absolutely apply it to all the other teams in the league. You can say Aston Villa, not good enough. I happen to think Unai Emery's going to have a really tough time this season. I'm worried about this season, though. I am worried, and I'm worried about I'm worried about the same things I'm sure many of you are worried about. If I asked you what was top of your worry list this season, it would probably look like threadbare squad, not having a striker. Have we improved enough? Did we show enough in the transfer window? Is Raheem Sterling enough? Maybe. Have we spent too much money to be second? Not that it's our money, and I don't know why anyone would care. But have we spent too much money to be second? We've spent less than teams around us. I think it actually compares quite well with almost every team around us, in fact. I mean, Tottenham have gone out and splashed 65 million on Solanke. But I don't think any of us really wanted Solanke. And I'm not saying this to tempt fate against Sunday's derby, but I don't see him scoring a hatful of goals for them any more than Richarlison did. I mean, Tottenham fans, apart from the warring factions going against each other, which has been quite amusing, especially to an outsider like me. Great news for us. Danny Bates, welcome to the Gooner channel, and thank you for your comment. Great news for us. I'm hoping you're saying that Mikel Arteta signing a 3-year extension is great news for us. Why do you think there are people who are so against Arteta? I mean, why are they so upset? I would understand it if, he took over right after a successful season. What if we just won the league and in the intervening, Kyle said this on his own video, then the last 20 years, 5 of them are down to Arteta. That's right, 5 of them. Here we go. There's no divide. Social joins. Great to see you. There's no divide. In real life, no Arsenal fan is complaining. It's these online widows playing up to cameras in full character mode, just looking for clickbaits. Social, when Kyle comes on to do this, you will see that he is every bit a real Arsenal fan. Let me tell you, I wish you were right. I do think that the league gunners of this world, and there are various clickbait type, 100%, but not all of them. Some of them really are genuine Arsenal fans. Carl Walsh will travel hours to fly to London to see a game. He's in every way a real Arsenal fan, but he feels this is the worst thing to happen. Dino, Great to see you. Lovely to see you, Dino. Thank you for joining. It's pathetic. I think it is. I think it is pathetic that fans are divided against each other. But I will say, Social Joins, I do agree with you. I don't think this is a real divide. I think if you look around the Arsenal sphere, I think you will find that it is basically, I think it's a tiny percentage. But I want to point out that when I do polls on this, it's never like 5% or 10% that want Arteta out. I'd love to hear from you if you're watching. By the way, click like, everyone. Brings people to the channel. I'd love to hear from somebody. I would love to debate somebody live. As I said, Kyle and I are organising that. It'll be an entirely friendly debate, because I'm not here to stoke up anger and division. This is not a shouty, ranty, clickbaity, as Social Joins puts it. This is not that kind of channel. This is a channel that recognises there will be differences of opinion. But I have to say, some differences of opinion make a lot more sense to me than others. This one just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, this one is entirely predicated on the fact that Man City finished on 91 points. If they'd drawn a game they won last season, then we would now... Would there still be people who are saying Arteta out? Do you think that actually... You know what's interesting to me? I really think... I'm taking names. A lot of the comments that I read underneath videos that talk about what a bad thing it is that Arteta's been given a contract. Underneath all these comments saying this is terrible, Arsenal lack... I mean, we can look at them in a little bit if you like. I bet if Asila Football spoke on Arteta's extra 3 years, she'd be worried at the prospect. I think honestly, other fans, and I know she's a Man United fan, as you point out, I think other fans cannot understand. I mean, Mark Goldbridge said it brilliantly. He said, Arsenal fans, yours are first world problems. Oh no, you're only second. You didn't win the league. Everyone else did worse than us. We don't get a lot of sympathy. Social Joins, how's it the worst thing to happen? With what data metrics is Arteta the worst thing? Make it make sense. Social Joins, I completely agree with you. I'm dying for somebody among us to give me a little bit more to work with. The things that you get consistently are how much money he spent. As if the money that has been spent was spent in a vacuum. One of the comments that I read out, David Bowen's made, was that, Arteta only likes yes men. Well, Pep Guardiola only likes yes men. I mean, look what happened to João Cancelo when he turned up for one training session in a bit of a mood. He was gone. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, when he was managed by Pep Guardiola. When did Alex Ferguson, with the exception of Eric Cantona, when did Alex Ferguson go for egomaniacs? I think managers are controlling characters. They don't want lots of people in their setup who challenge them. I think that's reasonable. Well, maybe it's not reasonable. I think I misspoke when I said reasonable. But I think that it's expected. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I want to hear from anybody that's upset about this. There's so many of the little channels that I see where it brings me down a little bit. I want to be relentlessly positive. I said this in the video I did about Arteta. I think it was Monday. Yeah, it was Monday. Monday I did a video. You can go and check it out. And I said, look, this is why I want us to discuss this, and I want us to stop discussing it. You get people who say, that we shouldn't have given him a 3-year contract. We should have waited to how this season goes. But do you want that level of uncertainty? Or would you rather have everybody know where you stand with a manager? Let's face it. If we have a disastrous season, we don't win a single Champions League game. We end up 5th in the Premier League. We don't win a cup. don't think he survives that anyway, or at least not long. But it's worth pointing out that Erik ten Hag has survived being 8th. I mean, nobody survives at Chelsea, do they? The North London derby is going to throw fuel on this. It's going to be incendiary, to say the least, because I think we all know that the knives will be out. No one's expecting anything but an Arsenal win. No one will be happy with anything but an Arsenal win. Or spuds. Or spuds indeed. What do you mean by that, Zanzibarian? You've left a bit of that sentence out. I think the injury to Martin Odegaard, the freak injury to Merino, although I'm starting to think as a club we should probably expect to have a player come in and be injured like Timber or, Tomiyasu was never this injury prone. Thomas Partey was never this injury prone. Merino's had 4 or 5 years without an injury. They had Poch and got rid of him. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, because he didn't win them silverware. Well, it's difficult because the Poch thing is even weirder. I mean, it is strange when you think Daniel Levy, closet gooner, because to get that close with the resources he had and then spend another 3 transfer windows and not back him at all, that is toxic. Why are some Arsenal fans so upset with our current situation? And they look across North London and see Tottenham and hey, Coach Jordash. Great to see you, Coach. Why are people panicking about a useless Spurs? I'd be more worried if we had Villa under these conditions. Do you know what? You've lifted my mood in one sentence. I agree with you, but North London derbies are unpredictable affairs at the best of times. I think that as Arsenal fans, we have a tendency to slightly exaggerate the problem, and which I think is what you're saying, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think that we tend to look at it and say, oh no, we're missing, I did have a thought about this earlier, which I'd like to run past you all, because I know in the last one we were talking about, in the last live I did 2 nights ago, which was a little less kind of irritated by me. I do apologize that this live stream has been a little bit bitey. I feel like I'm reacting to a wave of negativity. I feel like I'm in the front seat of a car driving next to a really competent driver, and there's people in the back, or one person in the back going, "You're doing it wrong. We're not there yet. When are we going to get there?" And you just, at a certain point, you just want an ejector seat, right? But we have been talking this week. Zanzibarian has shared his team predictions. Go back and watch the live last time. Oh, here we go. Brother, don't forget Mikel's signature move. He loves versatility, so there's no reason why we can't cope. It's stupid we're going to derail Spurs. I love your positivity. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, you should be doing that right now, because this channel needs more people like you. We have a small group of people who are positive, happy. I know it doesn't sound like it today because I've been a bit hopefully you haven't found me to be whingy. I'm just a bit ticked off. Like I said, there's a backseat driver complaining, and I just want to debate with them. I want to hear from them that they're not just sniffing glue, but signature move. So this takes me to what I was just saying. Click like, coach. If you click like, the YouTube algorithm will send this channel link to more people like you, and that's what we want. Zanzibari, and I hope you've been doing that as well. Social joins, so great if you do the same. But look, I digress. It started me thinking that may be the ultimate solution to the problem. Because I was looking for who can play in midfield, right? Now, the back five is sorted. I think we all know that for the North London derby, the back five, that's fixed. Calafiori's injured at the moment. He wouldn't have played. Urian Timber, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel and Raya. That's our back five. Conceded 1 goal this season. All looking really good, right? But then the midfield. The remaining, the problem here now is who do we play in the remaining positions? And I had a thought about this. Oh, but there's lots of comments. Here we go. I'm not positive for nothing, but I mean, it's only 3 games in. Spurs did the Ange Ball thing for the first 10 games. Where did they end up? I'm not worried. We have depth, strong defense, 1-0. I agree with you. We absolutely have that. I'm not fazed by players missing. The team can play a number of shapes, formation, team much better than people think. We're a passing team first. Do you know what? I love you guys. I love you for totally cheering me up because I need to hear this sort of thing. I'm a bit of a worrywart when it comes to the North London derby. Oh, I liked and sent you an email. Yes, I did get the email. I saw it earlier. I will be replying. Great to see you. If you just stick a thumbs up in there if you'd like me to send you the link for this, if you want to join in. So here's my thinking, right? We have the back five, and then we play Jorginho. And this was because I was looking back at 97, 98, and that Vieira, Manu Petit, right? So we play Thomas Partey and Jorginho. With me so far? Then we play Martinelli and Saka. And then we play Trossard and Havertz. And we bring back the 4-4-2. Who's with that? I don't see that's a problem. I think if I'm right, I'm not at all sure, but I think Yves Bissouma is out. Not that I'm saying he's some sort of miraculously good player, but the game ain't going to be won in mid. We've got a beast defense, and plus Ode holds the ball too long. Maybe we get more direct with Saka and Sterling. This ain't the crisis yet. People just panicking. Do you know what? And another great point. The other really important thing to remember is actually in the 3-2 win against Spurs at their God knows what it's called stadium, Odegaard didn't play that well. Marino wasn't at the club yet, so we didn't miss him. But Odegaard didn't play that well. I do think midfield's going to be important. But I tend to, Coach, you're an actual coach because you do talk a lot of sense. But I think you're right. I think that they're going to struggle to get goals against us, and they play a ridiculous high line. It's silly, isn't it? I mean, if that doesn't give someone like Martinelli the kind of space that he loves, I really don't know what to say. I'm looking at you. Zanzibar sent me a really good email, and I just I worked late tonight and jumped straight on the live afterwards. I haven't had a chance to reply, but it was a brilliant email, and I really appreciate it. I love to hear. Do you know what I really love to hear? I wanted to do a thing. I wanted to do a thing with everyone about why you started supporting Arsenal, what your first memories were. These are the things that bring us together. These are the things that unite us, whether you're Arteta in or Arteta out. But so far from this, as expected, we're all Arteta in and we're all happy about it. Odegaard plays a 10, but plays as an 8, pressing, etc. I coach tennis, but the principle is the same. We've got good options. I am so bad at tennis. I tried one, I just cannot hit the ball. You'd have to be one hell of a coach to get a tennis game out of me, I tell you. I'm with a 4-2-3-1. Okay. So, okay. Who's at the top of that? Is that Havertz at the top, or so? Assuming you're talking about Partey and Jorginho, with, well, who's the 3 then? Trossard's got to be in there. Saka's got to be in there. Trossard, Martinelli, Saka. It's called the Stadium of Shite. Shite Hart Lane, 3-point lane. As for our midfield, Partey, Jorginho, Havertz up front, Martinelli, Sterling and Saka, 3 pacey front runners to push the Spurs back line. I think that's what Social Joins is saying as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's not like Tottenham don't have their own problems, right? It's not like Tottenham are having it all their own way either. I saw Tap in Tobes, first time I'd seen his site. I really liked it. I've been watching some Spurs sites just to get a feeling of how they are. What a channel. Glad I stumbled upon a non-biased channel nowadays. They always just want clicks. Z, but you're a breath of... Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, obviously I do want clicks as well. But the purpose of this channel, as I went to great lengths to point out, and we've had some really good lives in the last week, Zanzibarian as a regular. Look, the purpose is to build a community. It's never, I don't think we're looking at millions of subscribers and clickbaity titles. I think we just want some balance and some nuance. And so when people come and they appreciate that, stay. Tell anyone you know who is similar to you and bring them with you. But this isn't about getting, this isn't about me doing the shouty video that gets everybody clicking. And although, as I said, I wouldn't hate it. Once you do that, the 1 million views will come. You know what? That would, I'm not going to lie, it would be nice. But I get so much out of meeting, as Zanzibarian sent an email telling me about how he got into football, a chance to meet real Arsenal fans that care, have good, sensible opinions, so much more important, isn't it, than the 1 million views? Although, I'm not going to lie, it would be brilliant. Coach Jordash, some of us are old and wise. I'm one of the really old ones. Come on, you Gunners, since 66. I mean, with your permission, I would read out the email because I really, like I said, I really enjoyed. I enjoy finding out what makes people support Arsenal. For me, it wasn't really any choice. I grew up in Gospel Oak, which is just off Kentish Town, to walk away from the stadium. My grandfather, who came down from Glasgow, was an Arsenal fan. There was a strong Scottish connection. My uncle, therefore, was an Arsenal fan. He didn't give me any choice. My father lived in Austria, didn't know anything about football, wasn't really a football fan. But I got taken to the Arsenal by a football coach at school because I was a one-parent family, and he took me. And the first time I went, I never saw the pitch really because I was too little, and I was in the North Bank, 1983, a game against Southampton. And so for me, it was the walking distance club from my childhood. Didn't really have a choice. But now with this as a global entity, we've got so many fans all over the world. I want to know where you are, Coach Jordash, but it's fantastic. I'm going to read it away. Thank you, because I think it's worth reading. I support Arsenal because of Bergkamp. I saw him do things. Yeah. What's your favourite Bergkamp moment? Because right up there is that Newcastle. Right up there are the 3 goals that were match of the day, top, second. So, Authentic Channel, you will be well. I have a group of fans on WhatsApp here in South Africa. Brilliant. And it's good because the time difference isn't too much. Well, you're like an hour ahead. I'm going to read. I think I'd like to start this as a regular segment to the show, actually. We're going to keep going. Don't worry. Don't you worry about that. I enjoy it too much. That's the reality of it. The live went on on Tuesday, went on for 3 hours. And when I went to bed, obviously the missus is like, where the hell have you been? And I was like, just enjoyed it so much. I don't look at views anymore. I do look at likes, so hit like. But I want to make this a regular segment. I want to find out from all of you. I think it's so beautiful. I know Glenn did this. Yeah, he's the only player still to be 3rd, 2nd, and 1st in the goal of the month on BBC's Match of the Day. That Leicester game, which was a 3-3 draw. I'm going to read this because this is from Zanzibarian. As for being a gooner, you can blame my mum's dad for that. 1966, just before the World Cup final, he used to sell carpets. So that time, my grandparents came down from Nottingham to where we lived in Sussex. You didn't say which bit of Sussex, because I'm in Sussex. So that piqued my interest. Just before the final started, and he bought 4 rugs. I have 3 older brothers. The oldest supported Nottingham Forest, and he was given a Forest rug. Next oldest at the time supported West Ham, so he got a West Ham rug. The story goes, before I was born, they and my dad went to see Forest versus West Ham at the City Ground in Nottingham. Now, he didn't support anyone at the time, but was so upset that no one in the stadium was supporting West Ham, he decided to start supporting them. Now he supports Brighton and Hove Albion and has done so for years. Next in line supported Man United, so he was given a Man United rug. He's seen the light of day and now supports Fulham. I love that, by the way. I didn't support anyone, so my granddad said, "You don't support anyone, do you? So how about supporting this team?" I unrolled the rug and it was Victoria Concordia Crescit, victory through unity, an Arsenal rug. Though after some 5 moves since, I don't know where it is now. What? How could you lose an iconic rug like that? That's ridiculous. So that's how I became a Gooner, and I've never looked back and never even had the inkling to support anyone else. And it's the reason why I nearly always put "Come on, you Gunners" since 66 on YouTube comments. I can't believe it. There's a magic carpet story. Beautiful. Isn't that just like, there is something kismety, fatey about being picked by a club. My story is simple. I grew up in Hackney. Go on, son. Nearest stadium was Leyton Orient and Highbury. I know, right? Mate, spent a lot of time in Hackney. There's we could have the White Hart, the Yucatan. We could have a lot of talks about Dalston. Love Hackney. Love Hackney. Nearest stadium was Leyton Orient and and Highbury. My cousins lived outside. I mean, Hackney is an Arsenal area. That is still to this day. Outside Highbury Northgate. So that was that. Where are you now, Social Joins? Still in Hackney? No reason to leave. What's this? I got the bell, brother. Lindfield. Are you two having a conversation? I don't know what's going on now. Question. Do you think the EPL has become boring? I'm looking at Saturday's fixtures. Dreadful. Somewhat. May I return to that? There's I think that is a subject. Good evening, Rob Reed. Late to the party as usual. You knew that it was still going to be going on at 11. But if you guys can't show up on time, I'm going to take an extra hour with the family from now on. I saw a VCC rug for 80 quid. I'd never have sold mine. What did it? I want to see what it looked like. See if you can dig out what it looked like, because I love the idea of magic carpet. Rob, you've missed basically me getting all ranty about the people who are Arteta out. The people who are upset that he got a 3-year contract. That he hasn't done enough. There will be, at some point, a live debate between myself and Carl Walsh. Let's do this. I think there's such a good point here, actually. Do you think the EPL has become boring? I'm looking at Saturday's fixtures. Dreadful. I mean, it's going to be a little bit boring when the same team wins it 4 times in a row, right? It's always going to be a little bit boring. On Saturday, the best game is Bournemouth to beat Chelsea, bring on Super League. Totally. Yeah. It's funny because my first instinct was to say, no, I don't think it's getting boring. But I have to be honest with you, a lot of weekends, and I know we're playing on Sunday. Well, do you know what, Rob? Sorry, I'm reading it out before I've posted it. Ran away, they deserve it with their fake negativity. Someone else said this, but Kyle, who I watched, now Kyle's been on the show. He joined us for live. He's brilliant as well. He's a real fan. He travels many hours to go and watch it. He loves the club every bit as much as the rest of us, but he's convinced that Arteta is killing the club. Now, I can't speak for him, and that's why I want him to come on and speak for himself. I want us all to embrace people with different opinions. it's absolutely okay for us to disagree as long as we do it in a respectful, friendly way. But I think it's mad. But I do think a lot of us do feel like it must be fake. Oh, you're part of the Essex migration. Mostly West Ham fans around here now, but Arsenal fans still here in volumes. London greater, London is red. Yeah, London is most definitely red. And Sunday will prove that. Sunday will prove that. Who, Kyle? Kyle is always, like, Kyle's always been anti-Arteta. I don't know why. It's not boring. There's too much football. That's it. Do you know what? Yes. So I think I would hold, like, of the opinions. I don't necessarily think it is boring. But I do think there's too much football. I thought this, I think it bothers me in the sense that we might be asking some of these young players to play too much. And I don't think it's necessary to, I mean, there's 8 games in the Champions League. You know, there's 38 games. I mean, it's just too much. As a coach, Mikel can only do what he can. Wenger didn't replace Vieira or Gilberto. Vieira's hard to replace, isn't he? Let's have a look. I'm going to look at this. It's a good question. Which game is worth watching? Yeah, no, I'll give you this because I do. When you said it, my instant reaction, like I said, was no, it's not boring. But then the last few weeks, and you're asking which game is worth watching this weekend. The last few weeks, I do get your point. There isn't a Friday game, is there? No, there's a championship. Okay, so starting with Southampton against Southampton host Manchester United. Should we go through who we think is going to win? Should we do a prediction? I'm going to say that's a draw. Brighton and Hove Albion. Do you know what? Let's share the screen. Y'all. Where am I? Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Talking about sharing screens. Share this tab instead. There we go. Oh, that didn't work. Oops, my bad. My bad. Here we go. So this is the lineup. I'd like to chuck a £10 on a game, but it's so boring, it's so drab. Yeah, I mean, a tenner would make it a bit more watchable, wouldn't it? Brighton and Hove Albion against Ipswich Town. Make that Brighton to win. Crystal Palace, Leicester City. Social Joy, did you say Brighton versus Ipswich? Should be a good game. I don't know if that's the game of the weekend. Yeah. I mean, actually, do you know what? The more I look at this, Coach, the more I do think you might be right. Liverpool, Nottingham. Look, okay, so Crystal Palace, Leicester. I make it Crystal Palace. Fulham versus West Ham. Draw. Liverpool, Forest. Liverpool to win. Man City against Brentford. There was a couple of seasons ago. Brentford were their bogey side. It's not impossible that Man City could have a player sent off for something stupid, is it? It's not entirely beyond the realms of possibility, just because it's never happened. Aston Villa against Everton and the 5:30 kickoff. And then there's an 8 o'clock game, AFC Bournemouth against Chelsea. That is a pretty dull lineup. That is a pretty dull lineup. I hate to say it. You may have started me on a process now, Coach Jordash. You may have started me thinking maybe the Premier League is boring. Brighton drop points against teams like that when you don't expect it. I don't think they're going to drop any points against Ipswich Town. They look solid, and Hursler, watching a little bit. Obviously, I don't watch a lot of the second division in Germany, but I always have a soft spot for St. Pauli, and to see them climb up. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a shame that he left. Obviously, Premier League is a massive draw. I only look at these games for Fantasy League, but yeah, dull Saturday. How's your Fantasy League team doing? Mine's okay. I thought I had a really good weekend, and then everybody else in the league. I mean, I fantasy league every single time I do it. I think it's a great idea, and then I forget to change my team, or I'm watching and I think I've got my captain someone else. It's just another level of irritation on a Saturday. The weekend games are dull. The following Saturday is loads better. Zanzibarian, you are. I'm going to check the next weekend out. All right, let's have a look. With Brighton and Ipswich play attacking, that's why I pick them. Yeah. Can't look past Haaland. Yeah, you can't. In fact, he's a fantasy league buster, isn't he? So West Ham. Right, this is the weekend that follows. I'm just checking. Yeah, there are no Friday. Are there any other Friday night games coming up? Doesn't look like it. West Ham play Chelsea. Great game. I will watch that. Come on, you Hammers. Come on. Hate Chelsea. Anyone love Chelsea? No. Aston Villa Wolves. Ooh. Oh, that's a cracker. That'd be a good game. Fulham Newcastle. Not a bad game. Leicester Everton. Take or leave that. Liverpool, Bournemouth, yeah. Liverpool frightened me a little bit this season. I think Arne Slot. I really like Arne Slot's interviews. I think he's got so much charisma. When he came on and gave Carragher some banter. Southampton, Ipswich, yeah. Tottenham, Brentford. Brentford really, in the next couple of weeks, right? They've got City and Spurs. And then Palace, Manchester United. That was a cracking game last season. And Ollie Glasner, Crystal Palace. So, yeah, I mean, I think it swings and roundabouts. The Saturday after, Newcastle City, Arsenal, Leicester, Brentford, West Ham, Chelsea, Brighton. Chelsea, Brighton's a good game. Everton, Palace. Is it just too early in the season? Yeah, yeah. So there's some good games coming up, but I do take the point. I think maybe we're all still. Maybe it's just football's a bit fatiguing if you come second 2 years running. Maybe a bit of the joy. There is, of course, the Champions League to look forward to. The game needs a change. I coach tennis, but a new sport, paddle, rising. So the EPL with these bad decisions brings the game down. What is the big change that you would make to the Premier League in order to make it better? Are we just saying fewer games? I would clear. Maybe we don't. Maybe I don't want to open a can of worms and start talking about profit and sustainability. God knows I don't really enjoy talking about it. But actually, it would be remiss of me not to point out there was another big story. There is another big story in the world of football. I like this. Coach, really good points. Interview the refs, play decisions on the big screen. There is, yes. I think that is the least they could do. But then they're always worried about crowd violence and hooligans. So anyway, to go to this, finally, after years of build-up, perhaps English football's biggest and most controversial contest is set to begin. On one side, the Premier League. On the other side, it's defending champions and dominant force Manchester City. City face 115 charges for allegedly breaking the financial rules of the competition they have won for a record-breaking 4 consecutive seasons. That's one of the reasons it's so boring anyway, isn't it? Those charges will be heard at an independent hearing, which is set to be on Monday at an unknown location. What is this? It's like the Bilderberg Group. Why have they got to meet in secret locations? Why? In an unknown location, subject to any legal delays, Bilder's sports trial of the century is expected to run for 10 weeks with a verdict expected in early 2025. Marks a defining stage. Extra relegation place will make teams try harder instead of playing percentages. Ooh. Oh, but then another team from the Championship comes up, and some of them just aren't very good, right? There is a gulf now between the Premier League and the Championship. Change the refs. Yeah, like something's. I mean, that panel. I'm not getting dragged into it again. But I'm not talking about Declan Rice's not sending off again. Next Thursday, Thursday Champions League game as well. What the actual is going on? Next Thursday, we play away to Atalanta. They KO'd Liverpool last season. Then Sunday, we have City, but City play at home on Wednesday. So they have it easier again. Yeah, they do. They do. On this occasion, it's kind of conspiring against us. City didn't do anything wrong. Let's be real. Let's just get better. Yannick Sinner took steroids and got fined because B Sport is now about money. Wow. Coach Jordash. I've said it already, but you are very much in the right place, I would say. You have definitely improved this live stream. And I agree entirely here that the idea of City cheating, they didn't do anything wrong. I've been saying this for a while now. Actually, what is it that they've done? Which of those 115 rules, and it's not 115 rules, it's 4 separate categories, all roughly the same. What of those rules really helped them win the league? But I know that's contentious in here, and I'm sure one or two of you will let me know or let us know. Nothing happens going to happen in that trial, we all know. Social Johns, I do agree with you. How can we find City compared to Chelsea? Well, I think they're going to find Chelsea as well. I definitely do. But I'll go back to reading this, if you don't mind. After all, it marks a defining stage in a legal dispute and the like of which the game has never seen. Could bring seismic content. Well, one of the reasons the game has never seen a trial like this is because exactly like Social Joins just put down there. Sorry, that Coach Jordash just put down there. How can we find City compared to Chelsea? When Roman Abramovich took over Chelsea, no one gave a damn that he bought everybody. Ashley Cole. Yeah. It involves one of the world's most successful clubs being accused of serial cheating by the very league it has dominated for years. A club at the center of a global network of 13 teams across 5 continents, which is in itself highly dodgy, isn't it? Highly dodgy. Owned by a billionaire member of Abu Dhabi's. Billionaire is not does not cover it when it comes to Abu Dhabi. I've lived in the Emirates. That's money beyond billions. You're even talking about many, 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 many billions. His sovereign wealth has transformed the landscape of the sport. The case involves an unprecedented catalogue of 115 allegations. Again, don't want to be horrible about this, but it's really not 150. They're really nitpicking, including multiple charges of subverting the regulations by failing to provide accurate financial information. Yeah, they pretty much refused to open their books. They did it Donald Trump, didn't they? City will probably get a fine for having the grass too long, something trivial like that. And so they should. Maintaining a proper level of grass is highly important. Pounds quietens people down in hidden offshore bank accounts. I don't think they're that hidden, to be honest with you. Everton, etc., got dock points, but City will get a 20 million fine. So are you willing to pay 20 million over 3 points? Slap on the wrist, nothing will happen. Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm torn because on the one hand, I kind of think like, well, what they did was financially irregular. If they're guilty of the kind of false accounting accusations that people outside of these charges have leveled against them, someone should go to prison. But it would be tempting. And look, don't get me wrong. If they're 3 points ahead of us come, I don't know, maybe we're 3 points clear of them in January when this will probably be wrapped up and the league decides to dock them 9 points. Can we really celebrate the league if we do it because of that? City have sold players and have grown their sales. Yes. Which false accounting, bro? Okay, so this particularly, and I'm not saying that I think it's true or not, but what I'm referring to is the Etihad deal and the accusations that this was an artificially inflated deal so as to generate the kind of commercial income for Manchester City that does not exceed that generated by Manchester United or Liverpool, actually. But obviously Manchester City were starting from a way back, and so the deal like this enabled them to pay money. I would say that it feels to me as though a number of the payments to former managers that were apparently wrong or not correct, that's false accounting. That's potentially opens a door on tax evasion. And some of those things are criminal offences. But it, wouldn't mean that they necessarily. I mean, the fact that they were able to pay Mancini more money than they said they did, I don't think that's why Pep Guardiola is walking away with the league 4 times in a row. What did City do wrong exactly? Well, in my view, nothing. In my view, there should be no profit and sustainability regulations. These were regulations that were brought in to protect or to prevent the British government becoming overly interested. That's a really good point here. Well said. And Donald Trump got off. Did he? Hasn't he had to live with the burden? He's a man who can't take the fact he lied. I'm not getting into politics. Don't get me started. I watched that debate. It was a lot of fun. But we have enough to talk about. They hid financial dealings from the FA. Well, they didn't hide them. Well, they refused to disclose. That German reporter found out all this. But did you see the last day of transfer window? Chelsea withdrew a sale to club owned by Burnley. There are loads of problems with. I thought it was really shameful when the Premier League clubs voted to allow business between clubs owned by themselves. I think it's kind of disgraceful that UEFA will accept Man United having, essentially an ownership is not supposed to have 2 teams in the Champions League or in European competition. Manchester United and Nice. Obviously, Manchester United are in European competition, but not in the Champions League. But Girona are owned by City Group, and according to UEFA rules, they both can't compete in UCL. But here we are. Savio bought from Girona. They're getting away with it already. Yeah, absolutely. I think it is disgraceful that the Premier League clubs voted to allow this kind of behaviour. It's clearly giving an advantage to teams with multiple or with many teams owned by single ownership. City were dodgy, but they went legit in the end. I do think, I would say, in my opinion, with no evidence to back it up, to me it does seem a little bit sus that the amount they claim that they're paying Erling Haaland. I think that's wrong. I think they're paying him more. But if he gets 100 million for turning up to do one event at the Etihad, how can you stop this happening? Money comes into football; it always has. How is Girona and City able to compete in the UCL? That's already a case in point. Well, Nice and Man United were the other one. It's a bit hypocritical of the FA to charge them, really. They let the billionaires in and then complain when they use their money. Yeah, and I think actually the teams that get punished when billionaires can't just spend money like Todd Bowley, Clearlake have done at Chelsea, are the teams lower down the food chain. Look at what it's done for Brighton to be able to sell Chelsea players like Cucurella. And that's another baffling one. I mean, he was great in the Euros and he's come back, looks exactly like the Chelsea player before. City didn't do anything wrong, in my humble opinion. You know what? I appreciate your humble opinion. I agree with your humble opinion, but you've got to be aware. I'm sure you've gone through the same as I have. I've had so many people telling me I'm stupid for not accepting that they've broken the rules. And so many people said to me, go back and watch videos I've done on it. People said to me that these rules were brought in to level the playing field. No, they weren't. They were brought in to maintain a monopoly for the clubs that had already got really good commercials. If this was Italy, City would be off in the Championship years ago. Don't know about that. Juventus got away with it for years. Got away with way worse. Money! I guess. Yeah. Exactly. Haaland cost 34 million. Good bargain. It's a bargain, isn't it? Although we must all have seen Rory Jennings doing his. I don't think he's going to make it in the Premier League. And to be honest with you, I do watch the Bundesliga, but even I wasn't sure. I didn't predict it'd be this good. Chelsea are money laundering at this point. It's all just bizarre. Chelsea are much closer to being relegated than Man City because they may well have self-declared wrongdoing, but it's epic wrongdoing. Payments off the books. The issue at Chelsea is absolutely, it's not funny anymore. plus millions to his agent and family. 100% agree. That I feel like there is money that's not been accounted for. But does it matter? I mean, what other industry is like this? If we pooled our money in the Guna channel and decided we were going to open what's a good example? If we were going to open a chain of coffee restaurants, and we decided that we wanted to make ours better than the existing coffee shops in a particular area, you would spend as much money as you wanted to draw people in, wouldn't you? Isn't that just capitalism? Isn't that supposed to all be okay? Todd Bowley would buy me if someone said that I was best striker in the world. Well, you are the best striker in the world, Zanzibarian. We could do it. Let's do it. Let's call it Guna Coffee. Might need to work on the branding. Just saying. Guna Coffee. I mean, I'm already very poor for merch, but just look at look at that. Good. A special blend of, actually, there's a tea. I had a tea in there. So, if found guilty of the most serious charges, City would risk being forever associated with one of the biggest financial scandals in sport, and they'd be that bothered, wouldn't they? They'd be that bothered. Oh no! Oh, we've been associated with a massive scandal. Their fans don't give a shit. Their owners, sure as shit, don't give a shit. Try and convince me, one of you genius people. Like, thankfully, we have a very high standard of intelligence in the comments so far this evening, so I know that any one of you is a competent at undertaking such a challenge. Convince me that Sheikh Mansour gives the slightest of fucks over whether or not they are embroiled in a scandal. Yeah, merchandise is available. We just do this logo on the coffee. Don't get caught up in a hype of merch and branding. As long as your coffee tastes good, you'll have good customers. Yeah, I say that though. There are look, from a marketing point of view, that isn't true. I mean, Coca-Cola spend $1 billion a year branding their product, which is essentially just sugar water. I mean, it's not better in flavor than Pepsi. It just has less sugar in it, slightly. Branding makes a difference. If you can polish a turd and make everybody love it. Look at Chelsea. Look at the Chelsea fans now who are like 30 years old who talk about the DNA of Chelsea. We've got winning in our DNA. It's like, well, where were you from 1951 to 2000? Then what happened to that half century? Marketing is false. I can advertise for free on TikTok, Graham. Yeah. Look, marketing is false. Marketing is false because it is based on the notion of making you want something using psychosexual undercurrents of your inbuilt psychology, but it does work. How the FA let Chelsea have 41 players? I know, it's like, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with letting people do stupid things. Freezing players out. How have they got around HR? I don't think they give a shit. American companies don't give a shit about HR in a way that European companies do. Mansour has such a huge and powerful legal team. Mansour. I've seen that before. He knows his wealth would cripple the FAA. Well, look at Saudi. I mean, what bizarre state of affairs where the Saudi Private Investment Fund, PIF, is being told it can't spend a certain amount of money in case Newcastle goes bust. Saudi's not going bust. They could buy the Premier League a few hundred times over if they had to. It's not about the reason we have profit and sustainability. If you're conspiracy minded, it's because some of the big clubs got together and said we should create a barrier to clubs just coming in and buying everyone, using their commercial superpower to come in and do the unthinkable. But the reality is that the Premier League acceded to profit sustainability because the British government were worried by high-profile bankruptcies, because within the national economy, some of these clubs employ a lot of people in a certain area, and if they go bust, it can be awkward. So they threatened to come and regulate the Premier League, and the Premier League, to stave them off, agreed to introduce these profit and sustainability rules. In the King's speech in January, King Charles, I hate living in a monarchy, but we have a king, and he apparently gets to rule on matters. And he said that kings look into it. And so for all of the panicking PSR, and isn't going to make any difference anyway. The narrative is that Mikel spent 700 million, but so has every other team spent close to that. West Ham, Villa, etc. I know. Do you know, it's one of the laziest narratives, isn't it? And also, look, I never check the money. So 700 million, where did you get that figure? It's close to 550 million. Yeah. And then Roman Abramovich caused a profit nonsense war in Russia and Ukraine. It's all politics. Everything is politics. Arteta in, Arteta out is politics. I don't really get, you know, like sometimes it can be a war because you just don't see the other point of view, and I don't see the other point of view. But this is all stupid. It is all ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense to me to say, oh, well, you can't spend. Look, Jack Walker, when he bought Blackburn, they were a provincial club. Yeah, more people would go and see Blackburn on a Saturday than lived in Blackburn. I think that is remarkable. That's how small that club is. And he decided he was going to use his own money and didn't care if he won it or lost it. Lost it, ultimately, because that's, you know, owning a football club is not good for your bank balance. Don't let anyone tell you it is. But he went out and bought the players and they won the league. Todd Bowley has spent 1.11. I can never say this. It's 1.1 billion. 1.11 billion. So it's 1 billion. 11 million. I'm showing how stupid I am now. But 1.11 billion in just 2 years. Yes. The reality, though, is Clear Lake is an investment company. Bear this in mind. Looking down the road at, let's say, Google coming into football, Amazon have dipped their toe. They're increasingly getting into football with Prime. We're going to have Champions League games on there. One of the big movers will come into football, and around the next World Cup in the United States, it's going to make, I would guess, conservatively, Chelsea will double in value as long as they stay relevant and stay in the Premier League. I can spend if I can afford it. It is simple. Yeah, absolutely. And if you can't afford anymore and you go bust, too bad. That's capitalism. It's supposed to be capitalism anyway. Look, people are acting like it's their money. Yeah. I mean, it is silly, isn't it? I mean, like, thanks for writing it out in big form. 1.110 billion. Yes, that makes a lot more sense now. Thank you. I don't know what I had, just a problem with it. 1.110 billion. Interesting fact. You know, it would take you 32 years if you were using the tried and trusted Mississippi system, if you wanted to count to 1 billion. 32 years at a digit a second. Starting 11 versus Spurs. I've kind of come out and done it already. Let's get your posts up there. I know, Zanzibar, and you did it on Saturday. But what do we think about... Look, I think when we're doing this, we accept that the back five is nailed on, isn't it? Like, back five is back five. Raya's in goal. Neto's not playing. Ben Tan, Ben 10, Ben White, Benny Blanco on the right. Would anyone be starting Zinchenko? Why does everyone hate Zinchenko? Why don't you love Zinchenko? He's got an error in him, but actually look at the clean sheets he's been part of. Exceed the clean sheets of anyone else at left back. But I'm going Timber. Everyone's going Timber. Saliba, can he go another season without missing a game? Does he stand a chance of the Ballon d'Or? Who is your Ballon d'Or? I'm going Rodri. Yeah, because I'm not, I'm happy to accept that Rodri is the best player in the world at the moment. I mean, he is, isn't he? I know it's not a glamorous position, but Rodri for me. So back 5 with Raya, White, Timber, Saliba, and Gabriel. My midfield double pivot of Jorginho and Thomas Partey. Either side of them, Martinelli and Saka. And then I'd have Trossard just behind. I play an old 4-4-2. Play the old 4-4-2. The Arsene Wenger system. I hate Zinchenko in defence. Guy plays for his bloody country in midfield. He didn't this time. Didn't play for this time. I take your point, though. I am hugely surprised that Arteta, who knows him very well, has never been tempted to play Zinni in midfield. Not once. That's weird, isn't it? I like Zinni, providing we're going to have lots of possession, but he's liable as a left back, so Timber would be there for me. Very an excellent point. Absolutely, yes. For the Spurs game, I wouldn't play Zinni either. Depends on how the game goes. If they're going to have most of the possession, we're going to have most of the goals. That's how I see it. No Sterling. It's a tough one. The only reason I've gone no Sterling is because I would play Martinelli because of his legs. I like the idea of throwing Sterling on if we need a goal, keeping something back. He's got something to prove. I could definitely play Sterling. Now, I'm just not dropping Saka for Sterling, so it'd have to be Martinelli or Trossard. And I don't really want to play Sterling down the middle, if I'm honest. Rob Reed, whoever plays on the left. Welcome, Rob. You've been quiet for a bit there. Whoever plays on the left can surely handle Johnson. I'm not really worried about any of them, to be honest with you, unless they play Timo Werner. Can we cope with Timo Werner? DJ Sweets! DJ Sweets. I absolutely love Zinni, just not running back towards our goal or marking corners. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, no, listen, I get it. I think that goal, I think his last calamity was that McGinn goal that Villa scored. But I'd say Ben White was out of position, could have been blamed for it. Gabriel, I think when goals go against, I think there is just a tendency to want to blame someone. DJ Sweets, clap, clap, clap. Sterling will play at some point, and I think he will bag a brace. Oh, wouldn't that be brilliant? Yeah. I mean, I've already listened. Coach, this is brilliant. Like, surely, come on, everyone. Let's have this debate. Why not play Zinchenko instead of Odegaard? Listen, I prefer Odegaard in midfield. Captain Wondergaard. You know how you feel when a player is out injured. I'm sick that he's out injured. Should not be out injured. Should not be allowed to be injured. Hey. Play guy mid, but there is an argument here. I'm not going for it because I thought it had a brainwave. I think the double pivot gives us that springboard. That 6 players in the defense and midfield gives us a spring, and especially with someone like Jorginho moving the ball quickly. Get that ball into the wings, beat that high line. I think Saka and Martinelli can stay on side. The Zanzibar and how's you? What do you think about starting Sterling in the North London derby? Remember, last season we were 3-0 at halftime. Just a cock up from Raya gave them hope. He's not going to do that twice, I hope. Yeah, I'm not worried about Raya. Not worried about Raya. And everyone's allowed a mistake, by the way. You know, when these people go on about like Zinni, or not so much now, but David Raya with mistakes. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Who doesn't make a mistake? Christ, I make them all the time. I make them all the time. David Raya, I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about our back five. I genuinely think, a few of you have said it already. Yeah, I think, well, look, everyone says it, don't they? Attack wins you games, defense wins you leagues. It's been that way consistently. I think if Manchester United is a template of how not to buy players, even Man United, even Ten Hag tried to sort out the back five. I mean, God knows he's bought enough players. But yeah, even if all that Arteta has done for us, listen, I understand that he didn't sign Saliba. He almost cost us Saliba. You could make that case. But Ben White, no one wanted when he signed him. He was overpriced. Now, I don't think anyone's unhappy with Ben White. We all love Ben White, no? Benny Blanco. Jurrien Timber is a great signing, and so I think is Calafiori, although it's way too early to say. But Jurrien Timber is a great-looking signing at left back or right back or centre back. And Gabriel, like for 20-something million, Gabriel is just wonderful. And David Raya is a better goalkeeper than, hate to say it, Ramsdale was brilliant, lots of fun. I put Sterling up front with Martinelli and Saka, a fast front three. No Trossard then? Or are you playing Trossard in midfield? We shouldn't panic. No, I feel like you guys have settled my nerves a little bit. I'm not actually panicking anymore. Don't panic! No, I'm not panicking anymore. But, I mean, there's no accounting for referees and VAR decisions and Tottenham with their tails up. And, we've had, listen, I think, in a comment I read out right at the beginning, for those of you who've been here all the way through, the comment that was left on the video when he was talking about how we lost the league because we lost to teams like Villa. It's like, yeah, but Villa's the only team we've lost to in 9 months in the league. But it was a flat game. It was, it was another Havertz in midfield. I am a little bit worried we're going to see Havertz in midfield again. Trossard super sub. He is the super sub. I think it'd be similar to last season with them having most of the possession being clinical when we get chances. My only worry, and missing Odegaard and Rice's work rate. Yeah, I will remind us all that Odegaard was kind of a peripheral figure in that game. Odegaard's the sort of player that's important when you have a lot of the ball. I mean, Romero could concede a penalty, is absolutely true. He could get sent off. We look at refs, we have enough for a 1-0 win. I think so. We are favourites. Forget the partisan opinion of, communities like ours. Of course, we're a little bit biased. No one's claiming we're not. But trust the bookie, no? See, what are the odds on Arsenal? Well, let's have a look. Odds on the North London derby. Odds for the North London derby. Wish I hadn't done this now. Well, we're slight favourites away. So that's something, isn't it? So many options Arsenal have. We have so many options. We have fewer than I would like. I'd like us to still have Emil Smith-Rowe. Imagine if we'd kept Emil Smith-Rowe. I've got to stop dreaming about Emil Smith-Rowe. I just know if he's... I don't know. Well, we've got 30 million quid. You can't, unfortunately, play 30 million quid on the pitch because then City would definitely be winning the title. Trossard, Sterling off the bench, 65, 70 minute mark. Well, both of them off the bench. Hang on a minute. Who are you picking then? Yeah, I've got both of them. Well, I've got Trossard starting. So you saying that Chelsea, United, Arsenal, Liverpool, and City are all going to win? Okay. Let's have a butchers then, because I've totally forgotten who everyone's playing. Of course, Saturday the 14th of September. So City will beat Brentford. What's happened? Oh, silly me. Okay, so you're saying that Matt, who have you got? Let me just read this out again. I'll be watching out for you. I have my fingers crossed for you. Got an acca on Chelsea to win. Yeah, fair. They've got Bournemouth away. I think you might do your money on that. How sick would that be? You get all the others right. Because I think Arsenal on Sunday, United's not a given against Southampton. United aren't a given against anyone. United are pony. We have enough quality and our team is fitter than them. They are more concerned. Some of their fan base, Hotspur Hippie, who some of you will know has been embroiled in a heated conflagration with Tottenham away. He was ebullient. He was like, we're definitely winning this. We've got to beat them. Yeah, okay, go on then. This is not a 1-0 game with so many players out. I could see it being a 1-0. I don't think it will be, but I don't think there's... Oh, no, don't even say the word ZRS. The Croydon De Bruyne. I'm allowed to say that, aren't I? Gambler, huh? Yes. Quite obviously a gambler if you put... Mind you, you've kind of gone... I mean, it's got to be an acca, hasn't it? You've gone with Chelsea against Bournemouth. I make them favourites. You've gone United over Southampton. You've backed us. Liverpool will beat Nottingham Forest, won't they? Because that's a... I think City... They just look good at the moment. City just look far too good at the moment. What did I do in the predictions? I actually said Man United would beat Southampton. Nick Fadley! Welcome, Nick! Great to see you. Hope you've clicked like. Hope you've subscribed. With the players missing, I see a 1-1 draw. But it is only Rice and Odegaard missing. Odegaard didn't play that well. Edo Sari, 7. Brilliant to see you. Arsenal losing 6-0. Yeah, Southampton will beat Manchester United. Edu Sari is a Manchester United fan and therefore has all of our condolences. I meant ESR. It's been a long day. Well, what did you say? It has been a long day. It's been a very long day. Oh, you put ERS, Emil Rose Smith. I have to. No one's noticed that. You've guys smoking. He's a Man United fan. He's allowed to live in delusion. I wouldn't be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised if what? Arsenal lost 6-0. I'll take that bet. What are you hoping to wager on that? I'll take that bet. I'll give you fairly good odds on Arsenal not losing 6-0. The league's best defence against one of the league's most profligate attacks. No, Southampton thrashing United. I don't think they're going to thrash them. I don't think they're going to thrash them. But I'm saying I don't know if... I wouldn't necessarily bet against Southampton. Man United, you guys look so... The problem with Man United seems to be entirely down to the fact that your players don't seem to know if they believe in the manager anymore. And like he is the most awkward, irritating person. Okay. Zantamari, last 7 games have spud. 1-5, drawn 1, lost 1, 15-10. Yeah. We are better than them, no doubt. Never. United will win. Well, yeah, you've got money on it. Well, you obviously think that, but I was in the Spurs end in 83 when they smashed us 5-0. Worst football experience of my life. That's not happening again. No, that is not happening again. Well said. I have to say, I had to watch a North London derby in at White Hart Lane amongst the Spurs fans. And it was the season they had Klinsmann, Dimitrescu, Popescu. And yeah, they were better than us. It was a horrible feeling. Horrible. And they didn't even celebrate that much. EPL is now predictable. It is predictable. It's hard to see. I think, and I'm not, listen, sorry, I'm not trying to wind you up, but I do think that Southampton Man United game, it's a 12:30. They're the more unpredictable ones. United can never lose to the Saints. Don't even say it. It's not true. The Saints was one of those games where Alex Ferguson is famously where they were playing in their grey tops and changed at half time, and Fergie said they couldn't see each other. No way, 1-1. These two teams hate each other guts more than any other team in the league. Arsenal, Tottenham. Yeah, I'd say it's probably the fiercest rivalry. I honestly do think that. Man City, Man United isn't that at the moment. Liverpool, Man United is possibly that, maybe worse. Coach Jordash, but the hardest thing to predict is United results. 100%, yeah, unless you always bet against them. Fulham, Brighton, West Ham, Villa are the only bogey teams now. Brighton's so annoying because we should have beaten them. Fulham came out of nowhere as a bogey team. West Ham came out of nowhere as a bogey team. Villa, well, we've already beaten them once this season, so that's not a bad bogey team to have. Man United are funny to watch. I love them. Guaranteed weekend jokes. Yeah, I love them because it's like big hole-shaped nothing going on in the midfield. Like, you know, all the way back to the start of last season when they played Wolves, and you just thought, doesn't anyone want to play in the middle of the pitch? I mean, Casemiro's legs have gone. I think his heart's not in it. I'm really interested in Ugarte because obviously he's exactly the kind of player. I remember him at Paris Saint-Germain when they had all the lazy superstars and him flinging himself around. He's a good player. I think Joshua Zirkzee, I get the signing of him. I just hope they haven't ruined him. Edu, sorry, I'm not saying all this to wind you up, by the way. I genuinely will win, but it won't be convincing. I think that's a fair bet. I think Coach Jordash agrees with you because he said, I'm an Arsenal fan, but no way Saints beat United. Has happened. They beat them 6-3. There you go. Southampton will smash United to bits. I don't know, I don't know. Should we do a watch-along? Is anyone up for doing a watch-along? Do you know what? I just so want to know who gets it. I might do a watch-along. I might do the first ever watch-along. I'm certainly not doing an Arsenal watch-along. You can imagine the nerves I'd be up to on that one. United are so silly, guys. They'll do us a favour versus Poole and City. We need them to do us a favour. Yeah, I think Liverpool worry me a lot at the moment. Brighton will be top 3 to 5 this season, I think. The only reason I don't think they will be, and I married into a Brighton family, as I seem to say every week, and I love them, except when they're playing us, obviously. And I still haven't actually talked to my father-in-law about Brighton, Arsenal. We're almost over it. But he's a great guy, and I know he'd probably be magnanimous about it and say he shouldn't have been a sending off. But Pascal Gross is a miss for them. Coach Jordash is saying, yes, I think he's agreeing with you, DJ Sweets. We'll be there. Oh, were you saying about the watch on? Could be a fun way to start the weekend. Let's do it. I'm doing it. You heard it here first, people. I'm doing a watch on. I'm doing my first watch on. It's going to be mad. I forgive you if you want to have the commentary of the match. I'm going to be totally... Eddie, sorry, if you're there, right, like, then I will be... I will be doing a watch along on Saturday. Danny Welbeck versus Havertz, lol. Yeah, I love Danny Welbeck though. Adringa, Mitoma. What's your most controversial? My most controversial opinion seems to be, I don't hear anyone else saying this, apart from the fact that I think we can all agree that that Harry Kane is the sort of player who only scores when it really doesn't matter whether you score or not. But Mitoma drives me mad. I watch a lot of Brighton. I have to. No, I choose to as well. They're brilliant. I do like Brighton, but he just doesn't have the end product. Although this season he does seem to have the bit between his teeth. I'll be there. Edu, sorry. Right, we are doing a watch along. I will be live midday, half an hour before kickoff. We'll go through the teams. I've got no axe to grind here. I'll even cheer on Man United if you want me. Can I do that? Can I do Man? I don't like Ten Hag, but I will. I'm going to be. Can I be a neutral? My instinct is I'd love to see Ten Hag lose that game, but I'm going to be nice about it. Pascal is class. He really is. And he was in the German team. I don't know if you saw that. Played really well. Deal. I wish we could replace Onana with Verbruggen. Do you? The best goalkeeper in the world, Andre Onana? Brighton, going to get the kettle on. Yes. I'll have biscuits with mine, please. Got to have biscuits with it. Right. I'm excited about this. This will be first ever Gooner Channel watch along. I mean, I am going to cut it at half time if none of you lot turn up. You know that, right? Because I won't know what to say. Mitoma looks a bit heavy, but he's just getting back into it. Yes, he looks like he's up for it. Good call. P&T. BRB. I understood exactly what you meant as well, but it is a bit like, it's a bit cryptic. I'm not sure everyone gets that. Ishman United have fallen. I know, right? Especially when De Gea. Is De Gea in a club yet? Has he got a club yet? I mean, why would you? That was a bad signing. There have been some bad signings by Ten Hag. I know that Man United fans. Eddie, sorry, how do you feel about it? Because I mean, you can't like all of the signings. We'll be there. He had a good Euros coach, and he's a young, good shot stopper too. Listen, Coach Jordash is absolutely right. Come on, man. Like Man United in for Biscoffs. Yes, I like. That's my missus' favourite biscuit, actually. Oh, has he gone to Fiorentina? Did he really? Okay. I like Garnacho and Menu. I like Garnacho and Menu. I did a video about Rasmus Højlund when we were linked with him when he was at Atalanta, and it felt to me like he was a bit of a risk because he hadn't scored enough goals, but he might be a risk worth taking. Then we didn't sign him, and he went for 70-something million to Man United, and it was quite obvious that that's too much money to spend. But in fairness to Rasmus Højlund, he's worn that fit. He's done really well with that. I think Mainu is getting overplayed, but he's got tons of potential. And it makes me kind of think we should be playing Miles Lewis-Skelly. This summer was good, but last season's window was shit. Yeah. You've had some shit windows. You've been strung along. I mean, I think for me, one of the things I said at the start of last season about Man United is when Liverpool were able to sign Gravenberch, because I think he's a great player. I'm surprised at the number of people who are surprised that he makes a good six. To me, he seemed like he was going to make a good six. His crap. Gonna have to be. I don't get that one. So the Zanzibarian, I knew you would be in the T-Flex, digestives or Biscoffs. Can I just say, he's gonna be digestives. It's gonna be digestives. There's not even. I am sure. I'm convinced of it. Have a little gamble on that if you want, guys. Which biscuit does Zanzibarian go for? Oh, we've got new subscribers, guys. That was quite a jump. Thank you so much. Love you. Love you very much. I love football rivalry. Aside, the game is in danger if some of these teams are terrible. Yeah, do you know what? I really, really feel like you're onto something here, because when Chelsea are this bad, when Man United are this bad, it's not good for the game. It's not good for the game. Edu Sari, who do you wish Arsenal signed in general? There's a lot of players I wish we'd signed in general. The top was Joshua Kimmich, because there was a moment there where Bayern weren't going to be able to afford him, and it wasn't clear that Vincent Kompany was going to be a kind of manager he'd want. People talking an awful lot of smack about how he's a right back, not a defensive midfielder, when to me, and I've watched a lot of Bayern games, he is a defensive midfielder. Vincent Kompany has put him back in defensive midfield. He is still playing at right back for Germany. His versatility is obviously key, and he's got a great mentality and is great player. Alexander Isak is a player I wish we'd just go out and get. There's a lot of speculation that we're holding on to our money to make a £120 million bid for him. I do think he's a difference maker. I do think that when he came over from Spain, I wasn't sure, but the time that he spent at Newcastle and his proficiency, I would love us to sign Nico Williams. I don't think anybody would disagree with that, would they? I always wanted us to sign Kylian Mbappe before. I don't now, of course. I was surprised that Olmo, Florian Wirtz, you've just mentioned down here. Oops, excuse me, been a few. Xavi Simons. I like Xavi Simons, particularly like his threat when delivering balls into the area. However, I don't know. I kind of gone cold on him. But Jamal Musiala, Alphonso Davies. I really got Ferdi Kadioglu. Yeah. Cold Cumberland sausages. No, what biscuit do you like? Don't mess around with sausages. Imagine Osimhen went to Turkey on loan. Eddie couldn't do that. Terrible. I think at a certain point, the decision has been taken on Osimhen that he would disrupt the dressing room. That's the only thing that makes sense, because it does not make sense that we couldn't do a loan deal for Osimhen if they could in Turkey, right? But would Osimhen fit into? I mean, listen, yeah, it's silly. I do think Osimhen would be a great signing for us. The teams coming up should get more money than they can only spend on players. They need to do something. Yeah. So many other players. True that. Zanzibarian. Don't. He stares and said what biscuit he likes. Cumberland's a very good sausage. Danny Olmo would be a great signing for Barca. I liked him. I really liked him in the Euros. I like him a lot. It'd be interesting to try and put together an 11 of non-Arsenal players. If you had to replace all the Arsenal players in one fell stroke, who would you bring in goal? Manuel Neuer. I'm a bit Bayern heavy, if I'm honest. I do really like Manuel Neuer though. What Premier League goalkeeper? You know what? He came out and said that his heart's not in it anymore. But Szczesny, I wanted him as a backup goalkeeper, not Neto. It's really interesting, isn't it? Like, there are so many players out there. I really wanted. I mean, I know he's gone to Juve, but Douglas Luiz, Amadou Onana. My name's not even Andre, mate. Just for that, I wanted to sign him. Bruno Guimaraes, I kind of started to come around to, but in all honesty, Bruno Guimaraes is a total shitbag, isn't he? What biscuits do you like, Zanzibarian? Oh, God, I've missed a load of comments. Sorry, I was just lost in my own little world then. Williams wants to go to Barca. Do you think? I don't know, He did start negotiating more money with us, which is a bit... Osimhen is injury prone. Šeško would have been great. Šeško is such a project, though. Šeško, I mean, I also like RB Salzburg because it's the nearest club to my hometown in Austria. And listen, Salzburg, we have a reputation of bringing players through. I won't bore you all, and you all know Erling Haaland, but I know Ferdy went to Brighton. Ferdy went to Brighton, as did Mario Kozu-Dubry, and Mario Kozu-Dubry's gone immediately on loan to Blackburn. I will be watching because I have a feeling we're going to regret Mario Kozu-Dubry more than we do Chido Obi-Martin. A big manager would deal with him. Are you talking about Ferdy or Williams? What do you think about the current state of PSR? Do you think they should change it? Yeah, they should scrap it. End of. Get rid of. Don't need it. Don't worry about teams going bust. It ain't going to happen. Osimhen ruined his potential Arsenal future with that stupid video about his international manager. Rice tea. Do you mean rich tea? But you're doing another one of your legendary puns. Sheshko refused our bid. Yeah, it wasn't. That's a weird one for me. I was really surprised. I think I even got my fingers burnt on that one because I did a video saying it's done. So you can't trust the transfer window. I don't think he would have started. I think he knows he probably would have got less game time at Arsenal than he would have got at Leipzig. And if he gets the same amount of game time at Leipzig, then he'll have a pick of teams and he'll probably be able to negotiate a contract with us where he starts. That's my guess. Keen to hear from you. Rich T having finger probs. They're uncontrollable today. Uncontrollable. Yeah, I knew Rich T. I said digestives because it was the only choice out of those two. But Rich T is Rich T is a proper tea biscuit, proper dunking biscuit. I do love dunking Rich T. Let's talk about Osimhen. Bring Diego Simeone now. What? I have to. This is trouble because I'm slow. You have to. Sesko refused our bid. We're talking about Osimhen. Bring Diego Simeone now. Bring him where? To what? Oh, to manage Osimhen. Oh, sorry. Are you talking about like Diego Simeone? I think, yeah, is a great manager for like Man United or something. That's cool. I know what meant. I knew what meant. I'm the only one who doesn't. Scrap that PSR rubbish. Yes, DJ Sweets. We need a better manager. No. You know how triggered I was by all this. I overdosed on rich tea in my adolescent years. What is the overdose limit of rich tea? I mean, I've probably done that. You know the rich tea with the chocolate on them? They are Moorish. Sheshko wouldn't have had game time, so he wanted to stay and get better, put 1 year onto his contract and his gents agreement to leave next summer if a bid comes in. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of Leipzig. That's what they're doing. They're not keeping him forever. I know that. But that is definitely my interpretation of it, and one I think that makes sense. I think that he's had a look at it and said, okay, so if I stay here, I'm definitely going to get more game time than if I go to Arsenal. And Arsenal, we can promise him all the game time in the world, but the reality is we've got Kai Havertz, and I don't think Sheshko's ready to go straight into the Premier League. He's young. So I think next summer, the problem is that if he has another really good season at Leipzig, there's going to be a lot of teams in for him. I mean, strikers are thin on the ground at the moment. Look, I like Mikel. I'm not averse to trying a big boy manager. You are trying to rile me, Coach Jordash. No, look, let's be real. Diego Simeone isn't coming to... I mean, if Arteta's suddenly pissed off or it does go bad, Diego Simeone's always in a conversation, isn't he? Diego Simeone always gets talked about. If you ask one of these Arteta out fellas who they want, they always say Diego Simeone's good. I mean, it's obvious why he's done amazingly, but I can't see it. Take Ten Hag. Oh no, I do think Ten Hag is shit. I think Ten Hag has, and I'm sure. Listen, you as with Arteta, it's easy for me to be critical. I've never had to be a football manager. But you know what? I mean, let's look at the things Ten Hag's done. I mean, just Anthony would probably get you sacked by most clubs. Is there a more irritating footballer in the world than Anthony? Signing that much money on Casemiro and then never really. I mean, don't get me wrong, Casemiro had a good season, didn't he? Having the public fallout with Jadon Sancho, having the public fallout with Harry Maguire, having all of these things happen. Striker Ollie Watkins done. Do you mean he's done as in he's washed it, or he can't? I think he had a great goal. Listen, one great goal in the Euros against Holland. Gonna love him forever. Strikers, Ollie Watkins done. I don't know. We find your lack of faith in Arteta disturbing. Yes. You must learn to have more faith in the light side. Why not poach players like Watkins and Guimaraes? Well, money. The amount that you'd have to pay Guimaraes in salary and the amount that Newcastle wanted for him, we're not doing it. Has a knock-on effect all the other players around you. We've still got. I mean, maybe if we'd got rid of Thomas Partey, we could have had a real go at it. But I think Newcastle dug their heels in, and they were absolutely not going to lose Alexander Isak and Bruno Guimaraes. Sporting Gyökeres from. How do you say that? Because I have no idea how to say Gyökeres from Sporting Club Portugal is on fire again this season. 7 goals in 4 league games, and you'll come across him in the Champions League on 26th November. Yeah, it is just that Portugal thing, though, isn't it? New deal for Arteta, 3-year deal. Okay, so 10 years at club with 1 FA Cup. What are we doing? Oh, just when I thought I was out, you keep pulling me back in. Vader is a gooner. Vader is a gooner. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Behave yourself, son. Love it. I've got some video ideas. Gyökeres. That really is that how you say it? Gyökeres. Sick of this. I'm fuming. I'm going to go do my dissertation. Why? Why would you do your dissertation? See you for the watch along, Eddie. Sorry. Brilliant to see you, by the way. Good luck with your dissertation, and I'd love to know what it's about. How about Punt and Ferguson from Brighton? Yes, actually, yeah. I really love this kid, but injury prone, very, 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 very injury prone. Coach Jordash, you have made some outstanding points. Which trophy do you like? Would you be happy if we just won the League Cup this season? Came 4th, won the League Cup. Happy? Came 2nd, won the League Cup. I'll cut you, you know. Oh, that's a good subject. That is a good subject. I will pick your brains on the whole. I'm fascinated by that. Genuinely, I am. The OPEC countries. Are you going? Is it going all the way back to the sort of early OPEC issues and things like that? Ferguson or Šeško? Ferguson for me. I'd want to see Ferguson have an injury-free season. I really, really like Ferguson. All smart people like Ferguson. Look, DJ Sweets, we like Ferguson. FA Cup and Carabao Cup semis, Champions League, and finish 2nd in the league. I'll be happy. Do you mean you want to win the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup and get to the semis of the Champions League and finish 2nd in the league and you'll be happy? What else you got on your shopping list? Yes, please do. Please send it to me. I legitimately would find that really interesting. It is something that I have flirted with understanding, but would certainly read that with interest. So please do. Oi, I like Šeško. Oi, I like Šeško. I use extra. What to do? What? I hope we're talking about cooking. That's not too much for ask, is it? No, absolutely not. A cup double, second place in the league, and if you wouldn't mind, semi-finals of Champions League, please. Our squad's too thin, isn't it? What's going to annoy the shit out of me, though? So obviously we know we're playing Bolton. We'll beat them. Right? But we were talking about this in the last one, weren't we? We were saying, we'll put our second string team out. Who's our second string team? We haven't got one. Neto can't play in goal. Who's our second string right back? Anyone? Anyone? Second string right back. If you're not picking Ben White, Tomiyasu's injured. Our team is good enough to do that. Yeah, but we've got a crap manager. Maybe if we had Ten Hag or something. I can say that now. Sorry. I didn't mean to. You've probably gone to do a dissertation anyway. The DJ Sweets Dan beat me to it on cooking for some voluptuous naked females, buddy. Now that's baby oil you're thinking of. Virgin oil is first press. Well, mustn't be wasted on sex. I'm getting old. Yeah, definitely cooking, lol. No one. You lot can get easily sidetracked by virgin olive oil. I'm still waiting for someone to tell me who our second choice right back is. Who, you could say Timber, but if he's playing on the left and the right, that leaves us, that's asking a lot of the young lad. You can like olive oil. No, there's a schism forming. You're either a baby oil or you're an olive oil. And if you're an olive oil, you're a wrong one. Can we get off the oils, please? I want somebody to tell me who our second choice right back is. Timber right, Zinchenko or California left. Yeah, but you can't. That's what I'm saying. He's already in our first 11. If you're going to play Yuri and Timber as our second string right back, you're just saying we don't have a second string right back. Arteta said he wanted two players in every position. All right, I get Tomiyasu and Timber and Ben White can all play on the right, but can't play on the right and the left. Timber right back, Calafiori knows how to invert. No, I'll have to work on that. Sorry, I've let you all down horribly. Hope we see Party there again. Oh, I thought you said hope we see. You wrote hope we don't see Party there again. Yeah, no. Count me in. Johnson & Johnson. You won't let it go. You two, when you're on something, you just don't stop. But you are second. I'm saying, I get that Timber can be our second choice right back. I'm saying we're going to play our second string 11 against Bolton. So none of the first team players are in the second string. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying nobody who typically plays, because we're going to rest the whole first team. Except obviously we can't do that with keeper because we signed a keeper that's cup tied till January. And we'll still be in the League Cup in January. Not that we always are. But do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying if we have to rest our entire first string, because you can't play them in every game. So we're resting the whole first 11. In goal, we are playing Raya because, as I've just said, you can't do anything else. But the 10 outfield players cannot be outfield players that normally play. So, on the left, you can have Calafiori. Then you're looking at, on the right, Tomiyasu, I guess. Centre-back, Kivior and... I have both worlds. You lot, seriously? I have both worlds. Baby oil does not taste nice. Well done. But you are second. The Zanzibarian laugh. And then Neto is cup tied for this League Cup regardless if it's this year. No. Apparently, he's okay to play after January. Although I realise I've just disagreed with the Zanzibarian pub quiz genius and never wrong. Guna Channel's very own Never Wrong. So, all right, I'll take it. You obviously know better than me. Okay, at last, somebody's involving Timber California. Really? Yeah, you can't play Timber, though. You can't play Timber because Timber's already in the first 11. So that's out. So Calafiori, Kivior, Zini, and Tomiyasu, right? Say Tomiyasu. Then Jorginho, and Wanyeri, Skelly. Oh, thank you for bringing up Skelly because people don't talk enough about him. He is brilliant. Martinelli's in the first 11. We have Sterling and Jesus and who Sterling, Jesus, and I'll give you Trossard versus Bolton. All right. Give your worries me. He was awful for Poland the other night. Got hooked early. Yeah, I don't rate him at the moment. I don't. Do you see what they did to? Do you see what they did to? And this is shameful, isn't it? You know, when I was talking about how Rob Holding wasn't good enough to play for Arsenal. Well, he's never played for Palace. I think he played one cup game for Palace, and they've just done him wrong. Tommy injured. I know Tommy's always injured. Tommy's permanently injured. Poor sod. If you've played for a team in the Champions League and they get dropped into the Europa, you can't play for Europa team if they buy you. If you've played for a team in the Champions League and they get dropped into the Europa, you can't. Yeah, that makes sense, but that's not what's happened here with Neto. Neto, my understanding was that he's cup tied till January when calendar year or something. I'm looking it up now. Wouldn't it be cool if I was right and you were wrong? Do we think that? Oh, there you go. Yep. 2025. Arsenal made a low-key signing in the form of loan move for Bournemouth goalkeeper Neto on transfer deadline day. It was low-key, wasn't it? My God, that was proper low-key. And no one is happy and no one, on transfer deadline day with one-time Brazil cap heading to the Emirates Stadium to cover for the departed Aaron Ramsdale. But Gunners fans may have to wait until January to see him after he was cup-tied by Bournemouth against West Ham earlier in the week. Neto is Arsenal's third major signings. I might have missed. Do you know what? This is typical, isn't it? Zanzibarian's probably right. I think I've read that because they're saying that he may not play for Arsenal till 25. Get a deal over life. So then was Brazilian cup tied for the Carabao Cup thanks to his appearance in the competition for the Cherries. Now joined the Gunners, having overseen blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. However, Neto's appearance for Bournemouth in a one-off means cannot play for the Gunners in his domestic cup, which is usually a chance for backup players to challenge. As a result, we'll likely see Rowe playing a Premier League, Carabao Cup, and Champions League. The FA Cup rolls around in January, however. Okay, yeah, so yeah, you were right. Yeah, he can't play. He's absolutely not eligible to play at any time in the Carabao Cup. But by January, they're thinking he might be able to play in the FA Cup. Beautiful way to end the day. Up early again. Sleep well, people. Yeah, it's not going to go on much longer. I'm going to give it another 7 minutes and then we're done. But I just like DJ Sweets. Brilliant to see you again. Thanks, everybody. Just in case I don't say it enough. This is such a joyous thing, part of my life, to do this with you guys. I enjoy it so much. We'll play Setford. Yeah, we're gonna have to, I think. We have enough players. Yeah, we do have enough players, but it's not like, Trossard, Martinelli versus Bolton, give them game time and chance to build form. Why are people panicking? I don't think anyone here is panicking. TTFN fella, enjoy your I can't even remember where the oil thing came from. Is this because of the dissertation? Yeah. Yeah, it was DJ Sweet saying I use extra olive oil. Yeah, okay. You guys are just so easily distracted. On this momentous day. Do you know what I haven't done yet? you're going to forgive me if I haven't done this yet. Oh, slow down. Tottenham dealt blow with key player and injury doubt for Arsenal. Yves Bissouma, we knew that anyway. Do you know I haven't done yet? Is this bad? Should I? Is it like an itch I want to scratch? Right? Like, should we go and see what Lee Gunner thinks of the contract? Am I being stupid? Do I really care what Lee Gunner thinks? No, but should I trigger myself before bedtime? That seems like the wrong thing to do, doesn't it? It does seem like the wrong thing to do. Stand up if you hate Arsenal. Have you ever seen him standing up? I bet he can't stand up. He's so full of energy drinks. He's fuming. I'm going to have a quick butchers. I'll let you know. I won't necessarily share the screen. Lee, it's one of my... Sometimes I do just... Emergency meeting Kroenke out, rewarding failure again. Yeah, he's going to annoy the shit out of me. He's going to annoy the shit out of me. He is raging. He's doing his super smug look. What a bellend. Kroenke. Do you know what? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that to be this angry about Arsenal. Lee Gunner, lol. Yeah. I think Neto's a good backup keeper. He said he wanted to play for two teams when he became pro Brazil and Arsenal. I love him already. Lee hates Arsenal. Yes, he does. Lee makes money from hating Arsenal. I know, it's sad, isn't it? Imagine that. How much is that? Rewarding failure again. You know, I mean, like, failure. Like, he goes on, he's got the Invincibles in a picture behind him. Well, he often has anyway. He's got 102,000 subscribers. Do most people just... Yeah, he's got the Invincibles behind him, right? Vieira, Bergkamp, Henry and Pires, and who in their best season managed 90 points. And we got 89 last season, but he hates us. Real Madrid, blah, 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 standards, blah, blah, blah. That's all he says. It's very true. Do you know what? I'm gonna make you right, because I'm going to click like and... What a dickhead. I'm not going to do it to you. I was going to share a screen, but we don't. None of us need to watch Lee Gunner. Watch Curtis Shaw. He criticised Arsenal, but he's banned. Yeah. Curtis Shaw I like. I do like him. I do feel like he is a little bit young in the sense that he will... I mean, the North Side and Lee Gunner are probably the two most irritating. It's that sense of... the Dunning-Kruger effect I was talking about earlier. I know a lot of you turned up late. Detention. But the idea that people like Lee Gunner watch football go, well, why doesn't he just win the league? Go, it might be difficult to do it. I don't know. It might not be as easy as you think it is to win the league. Maybe that's why only City are doing it. But he goes, you know, but they kind of look at it and go, this is what I would do. And you think, well, yeah, well, of course you have an opinion, but you've never done anything. I mean, I don't go on Lee Gunner's channel and go, you're editing shit. You know, your camera's terrible. You know, standards. We need standards from this channel. Lee hates AFC TV more than he hates Arsenal. He's ranting to get figures up. Yeah, and it works. The thing that's really interesting, if you want to look at the psychology of a channel like that, is that even when he predicts things completely wrong, his fan base stay true to him. They don't seem to care that he keeps predicting things wrong. Yeah, they think we have a God-given talent. When I started supporting this team, we had standards. All right, well, about 5 years before you started supporting, we didn't. You know, I started supporting in 83, Zanzibari, and even before that. I think we're the two oldest here. Let me know if I'm wrong. But I didn't support Arsenal because we were winning shit. I supported Arsenal because... And I didn't start supporting Arsenal because of a magic carpet either. So you have a great story there. But you support a team, right? You just go... I mean, look, in fact, Villa fans aren't like this. You know, you say to people, oh, you know, well, Villa fans say, well, we're better than Villa. Are we? Why? Why are we better? Like, we, you know, we've got a better history. Yeah, but I mean, look at our history in the 60s when Tottenham were winning the double. You know, from 50s to 60s, we had a long period we didn't win shit. He's just as bad. And Dan Potts both eagerly wait for the slightest fuck up to learn to Arteta and Eddie. I have had my problems with, like, I did a video talking about toxic Arsenal fans, and it was, I used to really like Troops, but I tell you what it was. It really made me uncomfortable. Like, talking, it just really made me uncomfortable. And it was all about how Arteta had been gay at, for letting some man touch his hand, and Troops was saying, "I don't even touch my boy's hand." And you go, "You're proud of that? Like, what's your, why are you so homophobic?" It's just out of place in the modern era, but it's also got nothing to do with football. But they were ranting, "Murderer!" I'm 63. If you're older, I'd doff my cap to you. 50. Yeah, he thinks we're not true fans. He loves the winning team. He loves Madrid more than Arsenal. Yeah, so why not just support Real Madrid? Like, no one's going to miss him. We're not going to have a crisis meeting. Shit, Lee Gunner's abdicated to be a Real Madrid fan. Oh, shit, he lives in Spain. Now what? What are we going to do now? No one gives a go. Just go. Wenger, Unai, before Mikel, all never looked back. Never got back. Sometimes it's beyond the coach. The owners didn't back the guy. I mean, I don't think Unai Emery did get backed, but I don't think that he didn't not get backed as well. I mean, I know he didn't really want Nicola Pepe, but they did spend the money on him. It was a different setup back then. Spurs last won the league in 61, 2 months after I was born. I am their nemesis for never winning again. There are so many reasons to celebrate your birth, the Zanzibarian. Arteta sexuals in his current diss moved on from Tapapoulis. Yeah, the whole Arteta sexual thing triggers me a little bit. How do you argue with someone like that? You're just an Arteta sexual. I'm happy with the progress he's made since taking over. I'm grateful to him for producing a team that won 28 league games last season. Should I hate him? He scored more goals than any other Arsenal manager in Premier League history. It's not a bad thing, is it? Signed some great players. And I know it's not Arteta that signs them any more than it's Edu that signs them. It's a joint effort, and there's lots of data and all of this. But, yeah. He went out and got, like, somebody's responsible for us going and getting and bringing Gabriel to the club. Ben White to the club. Like I said, I am a fan of Zinchenko. I know that's divisive. I know people want to talk about his errors. Like, he is without Sinkar's first own, as I said before. Like Unai lost in Baku. Yeah, and I think if Unai hadn't lost the way he lost, that awful game in Baku, maybe he would have got more backing. Baku cost him backing. True, and not to mention Saliba. I can't mention Saliba, but you have to say that obviously, Saliba is another player that was in that kind of pre-Arteta era. But at least Arteta finally gave him a chance. Our players are playing for the coach. Hallelujah. Amen. Right, 100%. And this is the key thing. When people say to me, well, how long are you going to give Arteta? It's like 3 reasons I would sack someone. 1, if the board don't rate you anymore or don't believe that you're the guy to deliver them the success they're looking to invest to bring, then you go. You're gone. Doesn't matter what the rest of us think. Second of all, it's if the players don't believe in you anymore. And Man United players don't seem to believe in Ten Hag. When the players turn on you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because ultimately, and Man United have gone through this over and over again. They turned on they do have to look at some of the characters they've got in there. But the characters we've got, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, all these, Martin Odegaard, these players believe in and play for Mikel Arteta. So we're not losing him based on that. And then, of course, there's the fans. If the fans don't believe anymore and they don't turn up to games, eventually that will do for you. And try getting a ticket at the Emirates. Not easy. For a team to score 5+ goals for 6 games, or was it 6 for 5 games? I forget. It's an Ange thing. It's an age thing. I was like, what? An age thing? It's an age thing. It is an age thing. It's a FIFA generation thing. It's like they come to expect things which there is no precedent for and will not give credit to a man who does it. They will not say, oh, that's quite a good achievement. You know what? Like, actually, we've won the league 5 times in 50 years. Actually, yeah, you know. All right, we came second, but in the year we came second, we got more points than 4 out of those 5 league wins. That is quite impressive. Scored more goals than ever before. Scored more goals in Invincible by a distance. But we must have standards. Yeah, and that's what they say. They say, like, the standards. I mean, hopefully he'll come on. I'm not trying to speak for Kyle. He's capable of speaking for himself. But if you watch his video, and it isn't actually, it's not even, do you know what? It's not even Kyle's video. Maybe I will show you all a little bit of it, because this is not some sort of blethering idiot. This is not I really like him. He's a proper Arsenal fan. You cannot take it away from him. I have to find it now. You can't take it away from him, but he's so, I mean, he's so upset. He's so upset that we've given Arteta. I mean, some of the things he's saying, you know, standards. I'm gonna link to it. I hope he doesn't mind. I mean, I will say, go and subscribe to Carl Walsh Gunner. I mean, this probably won't make you do it, but just know, he lives in Ireland. He sometimes travels 2 or 3 hours to get to the airport, and then hours to get to the game. I love him. I think he's a great guy. We disagree really fundamentally on this. Really fundamentally. But this is his channel. I'll make it slightly bigger. This is him. I'll full screen it. All of this technically is possible. Please go and check him out. I don't want to just, I'm not going to play much of it, because I feel like I WhatsApped him earlier. He said he was up for doing a debate tonight
on AFTV last week, and he was talking about when he first signed for Arsenal Football Club. And he said...
So this is David Seaman talking about when he first signed for Arsenal Football Club.
That when he went in there, the expectations of actually winning trophies was pressure.
So he's saying that David Seaman talked recently about when he first signed for Arsenal, the pressure, the expectation of winning trophies was high. But it is worth saying that at the time David Seaman signed for Arsenal, we'd only won 1 league in 18 years, and we'd only just snuck that. Jesus, would you say you support the Gunners with an Irish accent? We have a lot of Irish fans, and I love them. My own family in Ireland. Ron Kyle, I don't know this one. Yeah, no, this is Kyle. He came on the channel. I have nothing but love for him. And if you want to know about films, he's your man. He's a deeply interesting human being, and I respect anyone that will come and debate. He came on. There were 3 of us debating against him. He was a gentleman all the way through. He's an absolutely solid guy. We just fundamentally disagree on this point. I live in South Africa. Doesn't mean I can't afford to go to a game. Makes me less of a fan if I love Arsenal. Going to games, etc., doesn't make some guys gospel. No. Listen, I totally get that. That was not my point. My point was in relation to what someone had said earlier, which is that it's only the clickbaity people that go that want to say Arteta out, and Kyle is not that. I think football has changed fundamentally, and that some of our staunchest fans are all over the world. I was in Bali and met fans, and they'll never get to go to a game. Throughout this channel, I've had great pleasure talking to lots of people. many in Africa who won't get a chance to go to the game. I live in Sussex and don't get a chance to go to the game. There's only 60-something thousand people who get to go every week. Going to a game is not a measure of how much you love Arsenal Football Club. How much you love Arsenal Football Club is a personal thing, and I'm not getting into pissing contests. It's quite obvious to me that people all over the world love Arsenal hugely, and that thrills me because football changed and it's become more global. The internet and ability to watch it, brilliant, you know. And I know that going to match has nothing to do with it. So my point is not that Kyle is a bigger fan than other people because he goes to the match. It's just to say, if you're thinking that he's doing this for clickbait or he doesn't love Arsenal, that's not a fair thing to say to him. Why he feels like this, I don't know. Last January, 6-0 away, 5-0 away, 6-0 away. No other club bar Arteta's Arsenal scored 5 goals on a trot. No, exactly. It was a record. We broke records. Most of our teams in the 70s were Irish and Scottish. Big connections, both 100%. And we had, let's go through the Irish players. Oh, I don't need to. Zanzibarian pub quiz champion is already there. O'Leary, Brady, Big Willie. Who can forget Brady's goal away at Spurs? That is a classic. I clipped it on one of the videos. Winning the ball away does as well. Stapleton. You've already mentioned David O'Leary. I mean, we've got Irish connections, right? Yeah, too much of that around like there is a trophy for best fan. 100% don't give a shit. I love Arsenal. We all love Arsenal. Let's just say we're all the same, right? Armored Core 6 Rocks. Coach, I agree. Who's your forgotten EPL GOATs? I don't think he's forgotten, you know, but I am going to go with... I don't know. Sammy Nelson, John Devine, Pat Rice. Pat Rice, that was brilliant. Lee Dixon the other day saying that Pat Rice was one of the best right backs in the league. Oh yeah, it's a good question. I almost said who I think our forgotten GOAT is, but then I don't think he is. 2-footed genius. Morton Gamps. Are you serious? Like, come on now. Evening. It's the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Evening indeed. Where have you been? Roque Santa Cruz, great choice. Liked him. I thought you meant Arsenal though. I thought you were talking about Arsenal players. Forgotten GOAT of the Premier League. Yeah, it did make more sense. I'm going to play a bit more of this just so you see what I'm talking about. But like, I don't want any hate on Kyle, is what I'm saying. I don't want anyone chewing him out. He is not a league gunner.
So he went in, and the first thing he noticed was the expectations of winning.
This is Dave Seaman, came to Arsenal in 1990, and what the first thing he noticed was the expectations of winning. But at that point, we'd won the league in fantastic circumstances and the League Cup. So it was all project. It was all coming, you know. He was not a popular signing either, by the way. Football was fun in those days. Yeah, it's not as much fun now. I think that's just, I'm realising that. When Pat went up to lift the FA Cup, I was around a mate's house. Yeah. Man, we've had some great players. We've had some great moments as Arsenal fans. How can anyone be this disappointed? John Arnarize, he was good. Yeah, I liked him. You're pulling out some names, blasts from the past. I want to say this one. This one's really, don't get all this complaining that Mikel is staying 3 more years. Well, this is what I'm showing this for, because as I keep saying, Carl is a great guy, but look how angry he is.
Trophies.
Look.
Everything is easy. There's no pressure.
Apparently, everything is easy at Arsenal. There's no pressure. Well, I mean, aren't we we've had an 89-point season with 28 victories, and you've got people pissed off when the manager gets a 3-year contract extension. Make it make sense, Mr. Arsenal podcast. I don't get it. I always thought that Gilberto was great. Just went about doing his business in midfield. Yeah, Gilberto was great. Gilberto. Duncan Ferguson. Duncan Disorderly. There was more parity before. Yeah, there were. I mean, it's getting a little bit. It's getting a little bit easy to tell who's going to win a game. We were talking about this earlier. Eden Hazard, of course. When you said earlier, when you asked who the greatest GOAT is, I know it's a silly point to make. Oh, Frozen Carl in a really ugly position. I'm going to take him off. No, I'm going to play a bit more in a second. But I immediately went to Santi Cazorla. I was like, we don't talk about him enough. The guy was an absolute genius. Eden Hazard. I wouldn't. I know Eden Hazard's worth more money. I wouldn't swap Eden Hazard for Santi Cazorla.
No winning mentality.
That's the problem at the moment. No winning mentality. I know we won more games than anyone's ever won as Arsenal manager, but there's no winning mentality.
What David Seaman was talking about. A return growth. Done. Standards.
I love you, Kyle. But if I was playing bullshit bingo on people who are pissed off about the fact that Arteta's got a contract extension, standards was a word. Who had standards, everybody? Who had standards? Not GOAT, just players like watching. All right, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. Oh, Letitia. Matt Letitia all day, every day. Like, listen, he just Harlem Letitia, like a Globetrotter Letitia, just beautiful. Yeah, Matt Letitia every single day of the week. I liked Chrissy Waddle before then. Was that Premier League or just before? We're going up against a club that's cheated us out of 2 league titles and multiple others since 2009 when the owners arrived and do what people want us to do. Listen, and also, can I just say, for it, because that Mr. Arsenal podcast, by the way, what a lovely logo. Quality logo. I really like that. You've done really well there. Love it. You sidetracked me with your glorious designs. We're not the only team to lose to Man City. Like, if you're going on about Arteta, like, oh yeah, how comes he hasn't beaten City? How comes no one else has beaten City? Lee Gunner has a new friend. Carl has been on Lee's show, I think, but they're not friends. And, you know, it is come check us out, mate. I am on it. Let's do that right now. Let us do that right now. Of course I'm checking you out. Don't be silly. Mr. Arsenal podcast. Surprised you got that name. Mind you, I'm surprised I got the Gooner. That I still expect someone to come and get it off me. The Mr. Arsenal podcast. Dun, 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 dun. Bloody hell. Love it. How long have you been going? Done 1,000 videos. Ooh, channel dedicated to the Arsenal FC. Join me and my guests as we get together. Subscribed. I am your 3,100 and something subscriber, I would say. Yeah, good stuff. Enough is enough. YouTube must shut down Lee Gunner. Well, you're on. Yeah, you're on. We agree. Exactly. Any team who comes top 6 of the EPL has just 4 trophies to win the following season. The ELP Cup. Yeah, do you know what I mean? There are 4 trophies. This always does my nut in, really. And people go, we don't take the cup seriously enough. I felt like we did. Ashley Young at Villa was sick. Yeah, he was. My favourite Villa player. Oh, Gareth Barry was pretty good. I liked him. I'm getting sidetracked now. Yeah, Zanzibarian, 100%, right? So, absolutely, there's only 4 trophies you can win. It's just what it is. People get so pissy, don't they? People just love to get in a piss. And I don't know what it is. I think some people are just angry all the bloody time. I'm checking out the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Guys, this looks like a bit of us. I would recommend it. You probably already Barry was good, 100% when it was peak EPL. Yeah, but I mean peak EPL. Yeah, I would say the 98s, 99s, that sort of joy of football those days. It wasn't, it wasn't quite the business it is now. But the downside is that you couldn't watch it from South Africa. You couldn't. It wasn't global yet. So there are huge advantages to modern football. And I think what's happened now is you've got these fan bases, the loyalty to clubs. People really are. It's great when you go traveling. Wait there. I see you. Please, yes, come back out, Ryan, on the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Great vibes. And please come check out Ryan on the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Absolutely. Just what I'm doing now. Great to see you, BX Gunner 81. Teen Wolf. Where's the show you did earlier this evening then? Was it a video or live? Oh, yeah, 3 hours ago. The L, Smuggo and G All Arsenal show. The girls blitz through. Yeah, well, I've subscribed. J'ai subscribé à la Chanel. Stick your channel. I mean, you'll find it on Mr. Arsenal podcast. I found it live. I found it. It's the L, Smuggo and G All Arsenal show. Which brings me to a point I've never brought up on here before. I don't watch enough of the women's game. Do you feel bad about it? How many of you watch it? I watch the under 21s. I just don't watch the women's game. And I usually enjoy it. Does it make me a misogynist? I hope not. I'm not trying to be. Tom Canton on the Gooner Talk, he's always talking about don't know anything about it. I think there's only so many teams you can support, right? Like I don't know. We could watch from South Africa. I've been watching EPL since 97. I remember better product. Nowadays, the refs and VAR and all that have made the game diluted. VAR's got a lot to answer for. Okay, so I suppose 97. But it must be easier to watch now, no? It must be easier to watch. Or did you always have it on telly? I remember when I was in Mexico in 90... What year was I in Mexico? 94. We'd all have to get around a bar. It was us and the Italians would all argue over whether to watch Serie A or the Premier League. I like watching them, but don't get out of my way to see them or get upset when they lose. No, I don't. Is that bad? I feel kind of bad about that. They're Arsenal, right? That's, I will admit I became more aware and a fan of women's team because of the Mr. Arsenal podcast coverage. Brilliant. Well, then hopefully it will do the same thing for me because I'm sure I'll get into it. We cover both. Yeah, I love that. That's why I brought it up because I can see that. And I think that's really good. I don't. And I know a call about the women's game and easy to watch, but boring. We've got Sheffield United now. Easy to watch, but boring. Oh, easy to watch, but boring. We've got Sheffield United now. Remember when Spurs had Robbie Keane, etc. Listen, the funny thing was, one of my stepdad's best mates was an accountant at Spurs, and he didn't like football. And obviously, I used to go to every home game for the Arsenal. But when we're playing home, they're away and vice versa. So on the weekends where I used to have basically access to a Tottenham season ticket, and I went and watched an awful lot, the Gaza era, Lineker era, Gary Mabbutt era Tottenham, obviously always wanting them to lose. But I always enjoyed the games because they never really did that well. There's always good players in all teams. All the new promo teams are so crap. I've got to say I'm a little bit surprised that people are bigging up Ipswich quite as much as they are. Southampton look destined to go straight down. I mean, it's only a team like Everton, that could be really shit to go down instead of. Leicester may be good enough. Keane and Berbatov are quite a combo. Yeah. Not many, Benny. Jermaine before Darren Bent. Yeah. Nowadays, we've got crap teams making money. True that. I'm really liking this Mr. Arsenal podcast. Someone very intelligent did your logo, by the way. I mean, I like my logo. If there was a competition, and there isn't, and your thumbnails. Who does your thumbnails, Mr. Arsenal podcast? Because they're pretty good. You've been doing this a while because it looks slick. Oh, so how long has your podcast been going? You've done like 1,000 videos. That's really good, man. I really like it. Do you do mostly lives or videos? Sevilla versus Arsenal stream highlights? So you mostly do lives, right? You do shorts. Oh, let's have a look at your new shorts. I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna like it. Am I the last one to the party? Has everyone else been watching the game? Has everyone else been watching this podcast for ages? Mr. Arsenal podcast. FC Porto are the first team out. FC Porto the first team out. We better just coordinate. I hope we're not doing lives over each other because I'm not competing with you guys. So do you do watch-alongs then? Do you? Oh, good man. There's so many good. There's so many good content creators out there, aren't there? And we all do this for love and passion. And do you know what? You that come and watch, you make it all worthwhile. BX Gunner, Rob Reed, Zanzibarian, like Coach Jordash, just everybody. Thank you. We're doing the Man United game, so don't cover that. Tim Cahill, I never liked. Good player though. Harry Kewell at Leeds, he was a good. And we've talked about Australians. The other lead striker that was Australian, that big unit that was good, went to Italy. I've forgotten his name now. One of you will know. Been around since Emery arrived. LOL, and thumbnails is a mix of myself and a couple of others. I hate doing thumbnails. It's just so tough. Lee Gunner calls for Project Youth and then backtracks. Viduka, that's it. Thank you, Rob Reed. Oh, and look at this. You're like I was going to say Google, but you're better than Google. Viduka, you're absolutely both of you. Rob Reed, packet of wine gums to each of you. Vinnie Jones grabbing geezer's nuts was Vinnie Jones. Listen, my uncle's best mate is Terry Burton. Terry Burton is one of the unsung heroes of Arsenal Football Club. He's a guy that Tony Adams credited with developing him. He oversaw that era where we brought through so many good youth players. And he was briefly manager of Wimbledon, but there was something about Wimbledon. Nowadays, can you talk about good players at some of these teams? I think you might in the future. It's hard, isn't it? It's always a bit like nostalgia. Nostalgia never as good as it used to be. Visual Beast. Like, who do I think now gets me excited? I mean, there are some players. Adingra. Brighton have got a few players. I was really surprised Moussa Diaby didn't last in the Premier League. I thought he was great at Villa first season. I mean, he wasn't outstanding, but Visual Beast. Luca, AFC. Hi. Bienvenido. Willkommen. Bienvenue. Don't worry, Mascara grabbed Jesus' butt. And what about, like, I'm never going to forget Bruno Guimaraes just literally forearm smashing Jorginho. I always say to my regulars, without them, it would just be me going live talking to myself with the views. 100% mate. 100%. Like, I don't say this lightly. Obviously, I love that people are so generous and they come and they give their time and they spend their time here and we talk and we have this kind of interaction. That's what it's all about. You know, I look forward to it. It's a huge part. I mean, I'm doing it for 3 hours now, which is a little bit long, guys. I should we say another 10 minutes? I think I said that an hour ago. But But I love the community. I love the passion. When I started the channel, it was a time in my life where one huge business project I'd been involved in ended, and I didn't know what to do with myself. It'd taken up all my time, and I always had this ambition of doing a YouTube channel about philosophy and politics, and it's just a world full of people arguing with each other, and I just wanted a place where freedom of speech and debate. And I had a conversation with my brother. Actually, it was my brother that really was the catalyst for this, because we had this conversation. We hadn't spoken for a while, and we spoke for like an hour on the phone, and I just thought, do you know what, I could talk about football all day long, both Gooners obviously. And then I just suddenly thought, I'll do a Jorginho, because Jorginho was the transfer window. It was the first video I did that, really enjoyed it, and I haven't looked back since, and I've met some really cool people. Who's your best players outside the big teams? Yeah, I'm going to come back to that. I've got some answers for that. I read he did a bit more than grab. Shocking. He definitely did a bit more than grab. Yeah. I'm not sure there is much to grab with old Gaza, though. We only have interaction because it's a cool channel. Oh, thanks, man. I always thought about that Abu Diaby was going to be Vieira 2.0. Sadly, knackered him. Yeah, there's a few, isn't there, that have... Steve, all right, here we go. Great question.com. Steven Gerrard or Lampard or Paul Scholes? Right, so I want to be controversial here. Paul Scholes is one of those players who everyone talks about now was one of the greats. Never made the top 20 list of the Ballon d'Or. Never played that well for England. Was good, but it's only other professionals that go on about how great he is, and I take their word for it. I'm not a professional footballer. I'm not even a footballer. I can't kick a ball. Like, if I'm honest, a little bit, but not. No, what am I saying? A little bit. I'm shit at football. Always been shit at football. Just love it. I don't get the Paul Scholes thing. Steven Gerrard for me all day long. What a great question, though. Lampard, Gerrard, or Scholes? Balanced and intelligent content goes a long way in the long run. Yeah, and you guys make it that, you know. You guys make it that. Some brilliant contributions. You okay? Mate, how you doing, Luca? 3 loathsome players. I don't know why that tickled me. I just really like that. You're not. I don't think Gerrard was loathsome. I really don't. I don't know. That actually just, maybe it's because I'm. That's just, I don't know why that tickled me, but I love that 3 loathsome players. I think I've had that in that voice under my head, like, you know. Yeah, obviously Fat Lampard, Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes scores goals. Now I quite like listening to Lampard. I think he's really interesting. Worst caretaker since The Shining, but, you know, bias aside, I'm reminding you of days EPL was actually good. Yeah, you are. Really like this, by the way. I really like this kind of thread. I don't know who Danny Moder is. I know Lampard and our team would bang in 20+ goals. I know. Where would you play him? Alongside Odegaard or instead of? We have crap players now. We don't, but there are some around. We don't have crap players. We have excellent players. I like all our players, which has not always been the case at Arsenal. I feel for Gerrard. Like, I mean, that AC Milan Champions League final, that was immense. He's my kind of footballer. I mean, Lampard's incredible goal scoring record from midfield is just absurd. It is absurd. Loathsome players. I mean, you. What about Cantona? What about watching Eric Cantona? You know, what about Brian Robson? You go back before the Premier League. I used to love Brian Robson. I used to like Man United until they won. Like, I think they was my second favourite team. I never had a problem with Man United until Alex Ferguson made them really good. Yeah. Really glad I found your channel. Guys, let me know if there's any other channels you really like, because I'm always watching channels. I do tend to go through them, and then I really like the Cannon podcast at the moment. I like George from that. I think he's brilliant. Bit of a fanboy. Why do you think City win every game? The other teams have zero quality anymore. Back in the day, go to Blackburn, have McCarthy, Barrington, Santa Cruz. Yeah. There is a truth to this. There is some truth to it. It is either that they are so good, or it is that other teams just aren't up to it. I mean, I think Man United have never been worse than they are now. Liverpool are good. Liverpool got players all over. I think highly of Gravenberch. Obviously Mo Salah running down the wing. Kung Fu Cantona. The guy I used to sit next to at the Arsenal for years, good mate, Chris, lives in Australia now. His cousin was the guy Eric Cantona kicked, and he deserved it. He's a prick. But can you justify Kung Fu kicking a fan? I mean, if it's Piers Morgan, you can. Who's your least favourite Arsenal? I mean, I'm not counting Lee Gunner because obviously he's not actually an Arsenal fan. Cantona ended Marseille, Leeds and United title droughts. Pure legend. I mean, it is mad, isn't it? He was next level. He was next level. He was great to watch. I mean, even I liked watching him. And I read about a Brazilian goal scooper who scored 150 goals. Rogério Senna, I think his name is. Rings a bit of a bell. We'd have to look into that. But didn't Pele score like 1,200 goals or something in his career? Because it's like Brazil. Who's going to shock you at Ipswich, Leicester, Brentford, Palace? Well, Brentford are just a good team in the sense that Midtjylland and all these kind of other data-heavy teams. No one is the short answer. I mean, it's not going to be Wissa and I get your point. There aren't as many strong teams. Definitely, there are not as many strong teams. I don't think Villa count as a strong team, but I do think that if I look at the games that Man City could lose, I mean, Chelsea step up against City. And anyone did shock you. I mean, this is one of the things you have to look at. Like I said right at the start of this video, or live, I should say. I talked about how 78 points won us the league in 97-98. And it would have made us fourth this time round. So you've got to acknowledge that. You've got to say, okay, look, it is a different game. Maybe not a different sport. Rogério Ceni of Brazil holds a record for... There you go. Zanzibarian. Can we change your name from Zanzibarian to Pub Quiziarian? It's just a genius. That's why earlier, and you were right earlier as well about Neto being cup-tied properly. His free kicks were fire. Why do I like that Teen Wolf logo so much? I think it's brilliant. He was a free kick specialist and took the pens. Well, he must have done, because in open play, your goalkeeper's not usually scoring 120 goals, is he? Although in Brazil are shocking. They lost to Paraguay the other night, didn't they? There we go. Love the emoji. Yeah, Brazil is shocking at the moment. Not enough Gooners in there. Team Wolf is just amazing. I want a keg of beer. I love that from. I like Team Wolf too with Jason Bateman. Now we're talking a bit shit, but hey. A new hype English Mudweke. Yeah, I watched that for Gabby. How did he play? I didn't watch. It was. Oh God, I was so close though. Canada, United States, and I had the United States to win that. Fuck's sakes, United States. They got Poch. Ooh, Hamilton. Oh. Is that? I don't recognise that. Is that a Teen Wolf reference? You know what? I probably haven't seen Teen Wolf since I saw it in the cinema as a boy. Is Hamilton his mate in it? Has anyone else read this? A great book on English tactics. Oh, from Teen Wolf 2. Okay. I should watch that with the boys. My stepsons would love that. University name. Okay. Yeah, there's a really good book on tactics, English football tactics, and there's a whole section on Juninho and that kind of having a player that you build a team around, that kind of 10. Love Juninho. The season they got beaten in both cups and went down, though. Brutal. Bobby Carlos free kicks. Yeah. But isn't it true that Roberto Carlos only scored a very few free kicks? It wasn't like something he did regularly, but that one he scored in the Nations Cup or whatever the hell it was back then. That was a special. That kind of changed football a little bit. Kinkladze, George Kinkladze, another great player. Kisuke Honda. You got me on that one. Kisuke Honda. Didn't he play in Italy? Am I totally getting that wrong? Don't know him. I'm surprised I remember Nakamura. Yeah, do remember him. He was solid as usual. Brazil don't have that magic anymore. Let's see if these youngsters live up to hype. Most of them overhyped because they're Brazilian. It's true, isn't it? Yeah, it's true, but it's a shame that they're in the mud at the moment. And I really like Diniz, and I like the attitude. I like that kind of Fluminense chaos football. Love all that. They've gone back to the European style now. It's a shame. Southgate's England tactics: pass left, pass right, pass backwards, never forwards. Yeah, it's fucking Gareth Southgate. Milan, yeah. Well, Luca, thank you. And from all of us, welcome to the community. You can have any opinion you want. Just be polite to everybody and don't mind when we take the piss out of you if you say something like Lee Gunner's great or Arteta out. Ronaldinho had a good set piece, didn't he? I love Ronaldinho. Love Ronaldinho. He's one of the best players ever. My day I watched Kaká for Brazil. Quality. Spain are the new Brazil. Yeah. First time here. Amazing channel. I'm impressed. Thank you. Also, check out Mr. Arsenal podcast, because I've just found it and I think you'll like it. I don't think, mind you say that, I haven't watched a lot of it yet, but we are going to get to that. I said 10 minutes ago I was going to call time in 10 minutes. Should we give it another 4 minutes? At 1:15, it's bedtime, everyone. Coach, it's got to be at least 2 a.m. where you are, no? No? Must be. Am I wrong? I know Zanzibarian, you know all things. Luca AFC. Okay, cool. Will I find it if I just look up Luca AFC? Luca AFC. Oh yeah, apparently I will. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, there you go. Cool, you're doing all right. Bloody hell. We are in the presence of royalty. Marco, Polo, Marco, hello. What are you doing to me? Marco, you stay up late, bro. 2 o'clock in the morning for you, you know. Where have you been? We said Thursday. I've been here the whole time. Thankfully, there's been all these brilliant people here to keep me company. Marco, meet Coach Jordash. He's been brilliant. Spain not only good because the coach did coach. Yeah, you know what? And that's why I'm not so bothered about Lee Carsley. I think it's quite a good thing. Oh, Luca. I've just looked at your channel, Luca. We may have to talk some shit here. It's 2:13 here. Yeah, that's what I figured. So you're like an hour ahead, aren't you? AFC Arsenal FC it is. Oh, I've seen you. I found you. It's the same logo and everything. Yeah, I found you. Luca AFC. Oh, hi. Welcome to my brand new channel called Luca AFC. My name is Luca. I live on the second floor. Only old guys will get that reference. Guess I think I've seen you before. You've signed Arteta your video title, Arteta signs 3 years deal. I've lost for words. Are you not happy about it? Because I think you might find yours is a niche opinion. Certainly in this community. Thanks, no worries. Sorry, guys, I'm working still. Christ, what do you do? Well, then double thank you for being here, man. I really appreciate you. But I did say I was going in 5 minutes, and now I can't go because you've just got here. BX Gunner 81 Ronaldinho always seemed to play with a smile, and that goal he scored against United or Chelsea with no backlift. Yeah, I mean, every goal he scored was like legendary. When's the next stream and watch along? So 12 o'clock Saturday is the next watch along. But all hope I had of leaving has early. I'm not going now that Marco's just arrived. Can't just scoot out on Marco. Like, what? He's working at the moment. How are you working this time? What is it you get? Are you doing something reputable, or are you doing something sirens might sound for? Zanzibar and Ronaldinho is the reason I began watching football in the first place. Yeah, he's my goat. I think Maradona's mine. There you go. But it is close, I'm going to say. I mean, those two loved each other anyway, didn't they? So I've had that song in my head since Luca arrived. Have you? See, we are definitely the elder statesmen. I live on the second floor. I bet, Luca, you don't even know what we're talking about. Guess I think you've seen me before. Luca. Oh, that's not fair. I know that. Although the name, oh God, what was her called? What was she called? Vega, Suzanne Vega. What was the topic today, programmer? Arteta. I did a bit of a ranty start to this video talking about why the hell are people unhappy that we've given Arteta 3 more years? I think he's doing a great job. And I have a feeling that Luca, who lives on the second floor, and yes, you may have seen it, but I'm just terrible, aren't I? It's because I'm getting old and tired. But I think Luca may disagree. I think he might think that actually... Don't wind me up, Zanzibar. You'll be half hour late anyway. So put it this way. Half an hour before the game, I will be here doing a live first ever watch along. And people have promised to join in. They have promised to join in. So if you're not here, 12 o'clock, just before the Man United-Southampton game, Southampton-Man United game. My goat is no Cristiano Ronaldo 7. You're better than that, Coach Jordash. You can't tell me you'd pick Ronaldo CR7 over Diego Maradona. No, you can't say. It's Suzanne Vega, I told you. And then you went, oh yes. That's the trouble when you're reading these out too slowly. 12 BST is tomorrow. No, it's half. Right, forget BST GMT. You know I don't understand those things. It's a half an hour before the Man United game. So instead of, you can watch both, but let's get as many of us on here as we can. And I've got a sneaky feeling that could be a good game. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be doing it. CR7 is not better than Diego Maradona. Fact. Maradona played against drunk and high opponents. What are you talking about? Yeah, okay. Right, Zanzibarian, it's still tomorrow, though. Yeah, you're probably right, because what's now? Friday. Yes, sorry, you're right. You're absolutely right. But do you know what? Like, it's pointless me saying you're absolutely right when you're always bloody right. Like, I'll just accept that you're always right, and we'll move on from there. You're all right. It must get annoying to always be right. I'd love to find out one day. Didn't we try and sign Maradona and Ronaldinho? Maradona, I think. Ronaldinho, I've never heard that one. I think I would have picked that up on the ether somewhere. Problem is timing with Arteta's contract. I watched Lee Gunner's show today. Oh, well, you watched Lee Gunners, but you've just arrived here at 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, right. Well, that's fine then. And what are you doing watching other people's shows? I feel cheated. Problem is timing with Arteta's contract. I watched Lee Gunner show today, and there are lots of fans that think this was scripted. Of course, it was scripted. We have a PR machine, and they release news at a certain time. It's what PR is. Like, I don't blame them for it. What would you rather do? They just stumbled around blindly. I mean, this is a $1 billion industry, you know, like $1 billion club, but multiple $1 billion club. We're not just fucking around here. Pardon my French. Maradona was cheat handball. What the fuck? See, I'm not the only sweary one. I know he cheated. It's not the cheating Maradona that I thought. I tell you what, my reasoning for this is absolutely simple. Diego Maradona won the World Cup in 1986 and made the final in 1990. So, as sick as I was to watch him handball and cheat us, and I was angry, believe me. Name another player in that 1986 Argentina squad. The reality is you won't. They were shit. But they had Diego Maradona and they won the World Cup. And they got to the final 4 years later because of Diego Maradona. When Diego Maradona went to Napoli, they won the league. The guy was just capable of winning entire matches by himself regularly. He was a masterful footballer. Our famous almost signing like CR7, I'm glad we didn't. I just never liked him. Yes, he's a very good footballer, but Maradona is just legendary, both on and off the pitch, 100%. 100%. It was 4 p.m. It was at 4 p.m. Right, so what you could... I'm not starting these early enough for you, is that right? Well, I didn't finish work till 8, so... The advent of sports science means CR7 had tougher opponents. Maradona played a league with guys with hangovers. What, Italy? Nah, not having that. He played for Barcelona. He played for Napoli. No. No, I mean, no. Don't be silly. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think the sport has evolved and at CR7, but there's a point here which I think a few of us, Rob, I think you'd agree with me. I don't know why I picked on you there. But sometimes you watch football because of something like magical, the Ronaldinho moments. And I know that CR7 has his moments and he scores great free kicks and he's good, but I don't watch him and get excited like I ever got excited watching Ronaldinho or Maradona. He played against players without sports science. Yeah, he played on the streets. He played football how I like it, you know. Disagree, coach. He played in an era of animals. The treatment he got was criminal. That's another point. Like, see how long Ronaldo, CR7, would have survived with the kind of treatment meted out to Diego Maradona. Yeah, I mean, that goal he scored is probably the best goal I've ever seen. Almost signed Mbappe. Yeah, really close to signing Mbappe. Really close. I mean, I've heard Mbappe talking about it as well. And he was on the cusp but decided PSG. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm a real fan of this channel. I know you are. You're a coveted and well appreciated member of this channel. Thank you. BX kind of 81 true. Yeah, 81 true. I mean, like that goal, like you go around Terry Butcher twice, and then Terry Butcher had his piss test for a drug test, and he had to be in the room with Maradona afterwards. Luckily, he hadn't seen a replay yet, but look at what Maradona was doing at the time. He was just another level. Even fat Maradona was fat players. Jan Mulby. He was probably my first favourite player. Liverpool were awesome. It's not magical if the guy you dribbled was hungover. You know what? Like, you didn't watch much Serie A then, because those guys, Italians, don't do that. They're professional footballers. Oh, you've got some players on here. Maradona, Van Basten, Hullet just made footy incredible in the late 80s and 90s. Yes, they fucking did. Hullet, Rijkaard, Klinsmann. You had the sort of the Germans and the Italians. Lothar Matthäus. Serie A was solid, man. Valderrama played with Maradona. Yeah. Valderrama. Did he die? Did I make that up? Is Valderrama still alive? Did I read that he died? Valderrama. I bet he's still alive, isn't he? Yeah, he's still alive. God, look at him now. Oh, age shall not weary, nor the years condemn, unless, 63. Where did they play together then? Where did Valderrama and Maradona play together? El Pibe is alive. 60-something years old. You guys, do you know what? You rock. Absolutely fucking love you guys. Really, really, really enjoyed. I mean, like literally all this missing. Next Saturday, I might, I'm really looking forward to watching on Saturday. The original Sideshow Bob, yes, he was. Yes, he was. The original Douglas Luiz. The original, not Douglas Luiz, David Luiz. Did anyone else used to really like David Luiz? Is it just me? Am I wrong in the head? I quite liked him. I mean, I know he was pup. Yeah, Martin's out for 3 weeks. Martin is out for 3 weeks. I think I can confirm that. So he will, although actually, no, I can't confirm that. He may be back in time for the City game. There is slim hope that Martin Odegaard, probably playing with an injection or something, will miss the City game and the Atalanta game as well. Luis had a free kick at him. Yeah, he did. I just liked him. I don't know what it was. You're really on this, coach. Would Maradona deal with Van Dijk? Yeah, he would. I don't think. Ask Van Dijk that question. CR7 at his age is fitter than most of us at age. There's no question about CR7's fitness. It's just if you had to watch one of the two of them play football, I don't think you pick Ronaldo. No, he did okay for us. Definitely not a flop. Definitely not a flop. I think that whole period in our history is a flop, really. Guendouzi, there's another sideshow, Bob. Martin can eat bench. Martin can eat bench. What's that mean? Martin can eat bench. Oh, I think I understand now. Sometimes you guys are a little bit ahead of me. I have to catch up. Sergio Batista, George Burruchaga, Hector Enrique, Diego Maradona, and George Valdano were part of the 86. Yeah, so right. Thanks. Who cares? Don't know any of them. Not that good. Maradona partied off with Escobar and said, legendary. What's going on? We've got more people watching now than we had 2 hours ago. Have you been telling your mates? I might have to make it members only. Against who is the thing those guys played against weak players? Stop saying that. Like, it's just, you can keep. Oh, they've all gone. We had people turn up and then piss off really quickly. That's heartful, isn't it? It must have been something one of you guys said, because take the blame. What is it with your problem with Maradona? Maradona, he played in Italy at the peak of, well, something approaching the peak of Serie A. Incredibly tough defenders in the 80s. He played for Barcelona when they weren't as good. But I mean, like, nothing wrong with Diego Maradona. Nothing wrong with Diego Maradona. Everybody kicked the guy to pieces. Nobody in Italy had pies and beers before games. Nobody. That's why it was such a big deal, the Serie A, because they took it so seriously. $1 million private matches on Escobar's private match. Some of the best in the world were flown in, paid ridiculously, and partied. Oh, that would have been a fun day out, wouldn't it? That would have been a fun day. Listen, Diego Maradona. Okay. Guys, weigh in here. I can't be the only one who thinks this. You got to choose between watching Diego Maradona or CR7. Ronaldo. It was a different era. The players were tougher. I'll say they were tougher. There's like 2 substitutes as well. There's none of this, 70-minute matches. They did steroids, and all kinds of class A's and God knows what. Those guys were exactly hungover opponents. Yeah, all right. Okay. If you won't admit you're wrong, I'll just have to admit it for you. Another magic potions. All right. Listen, I think he goes out saying that players were much harder than today. I mean, we're talking about Gen Zs and millennials now. Mutu from Chelsea. Yeah, he was good for about an hour, wasn't he? Druggy. Bosnich, remember him as well? As the same era. Do I need more examples? Yeah, but didn't Yves Bissouma just get banned for using like balloons? At least, come on, man. Like, yeah, all right. Are you having a pop at Tony Adams then? Yep. I'm not weighing in on this side of the debate. Zanzibari, look, I totally get it. I totally get it. I'm absolutely 100% understand why you think he's a cheating prick and you can't like him. You were older than me for that. Not much, but I was 12 years old watching that game, and it was my first taste of pure injustice. Obviously, the PGMOL have seen to me getting a heavy dose of it every season since, but it was horrible. There was an awful feeling that he just punched the ball into the net. Disgraceful. But time has softened my attitude to that goal. Well, I've kind of ignored it, and I just loved watching him. Why did they die young? Was it all like roids or something? Prodown overdose. Come on, I want to hear from you. Who? Show of hands. All those in favour of Maradona type Maradona, and all those in favour of Ronaldo type CR7. And don't pick CR7 because it's easier to type and it's late. Marco, are you still there? Are you looking up? I know what you're doing, Marco. You've gone to look up whether Martin's fit or not, because I was supposed to do it and didn't. I don't think he is. But I don't think we need him against Tottenham. We might potentially need him against... There you go. Oh, yes. Maradona. Oh, yeah. Look. My main point is the level of competition those days wasn't as good as the modern era due to the fact you can't make this make sense, coach. You are championing the idea that football is boring these days. Is it? Are you saying that? And Marco, I forgive you, and I'm just grateful you're here. Thank you. But coach, this is a good point. Like you, and by the way, like in terms of bringing up points tonight, you've been an absolute blessing. So great to have you here. But your main point has been that football's more boring nowadays. Are you saying it's because they're all much more professional and work to this really high standard? But where's the flair? You still need something. You still got, Messi. Yeah, no one's talked about Messi. Don't get me wrong, Cristiano United was different gravy, truly spectacular shit. Yeah, he was. But can you imagine what Maradona would have been like? Maradona in the Premier League. Yeah. Listen, I'll take a lot of, the English Premier League. We were always getting schooled by Serie A because we did not have people. Look at the players that came. Not Italian players didn't come to England. It was a far less professional outfit. You didn't have drinking clubs in Italy. I don't know if you're kind of really more talking about steroids and things like that, but sports science has moved on leaps and bounds. No question about that. I don't know, Don't know. I think he'd be player of the season wherever he went. I think he's just a once in a lifetime. He's a once in a century player. Did anyone see that Fantasy Football League show with the nude photo of Maradona? Skinner said, and proof that some people have a penis of a small mammal. No, I didn't. Yeah, I think Maradona's technically the best footballer. Like it. The jury, we have voted, the Guna channel has voted Maradona ahead of CR7. Enough said. Enough said. You've got one game to watch the rest of your life. You can either watch one with Maradona or CR7. It's always Maradona. Like even when Maradona was fat and drugged, he was the best player in the World Cup 1990. In 94, he was totally off his. He was nandroloned up to the nines. Pele never saw him enough. The honest truth about that is seems to be like it's like people who like Liam Brady just before my time can't really have a strong opinion. I know you will have, but no, I mean for me, Pele, nothing wrong with Pele from what I've seen of him, but I never saw him, so like it's Maradona all day for me. But I will say, as I've already said, Maradona's in a really underwhelming Argentina team winning the league, and Pele's in a really strong Brazil team winning sorry, not the league, you know what I mean, the World Cup. Copa Mondiale. Coach Jordash, will you let it go? The jury has decided unanimously that Maradona is better than CR7, whatever the reason, because he played other drug players, lol. CR7 played against the modern athletes in a boring game. It's not actually strictly true either, because when CR7 first started playing in United, it was still a little bit of a drinking culture. I only caught the tail end of Pele's career when he went to USA with Bobby Moore and Marsh. Yeah, see what I mean? Like, I'm quite happy to believe if I'd seen Pele, I would have been more impressed with him. I didn't see how much of oh God, how have I forgotten his name? Is it because it's like late at night? Oh, I'm such a dick. What is his name? George Best. Yeah, Georgie Best. I didn't see him either. But I've got mates who are a little bit older than me who can't stop raving about him. Okay, I'll let it go. You're a big man, coach. Everyone has their own, and that's what makes it great. Yeah, it's true that. True. I mean, it is, like I said, and I started this live stream off on a bit of a ranty one. Yeah, best Garincha Eusebio. Yeah, the all players that I'm sure were mint. I just before my time. Just before my time. Yeah, so Mexico in 1970, Brazil were untouchable, stuffed Italy 4-1. They were amazing to watch. Their whole side were perfection, a bit like Arsenal now. Exactly. I will say that 4-1 game, that slightly otherworldly, almost as if these were gods from another planet. That game, that Brazil game, that is one of the great spectacles of football. I've seen quite a lot of that match. I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through. I don't know if there's anywhere I can watch it all the way through, but just beautiful. The Jairzinho goal, like just beautiful. Yeah. George Best highlights are superb, really ahead for his time. Yeah. I mean, he's just like balance, the center of gravity, the balance of George Best. There are a few. Oop, too many comments at once. Nesta, Maldini versus Van Dijk. John Terry, I guess, depending on the era, we all have different opinions. Yeah. I mean, do you see when Calafiori, or as I call him, Califiora, has been compared to Ramos and Maldini, and I just think, well, don't do that to somebody. Maldini was absurd. Costa Curta, Maldini, Zico, yes, to Zico. Did you watch it live? Did you really? Not in the 1970? How cool. Of course you did. Well, brilliant, man. Should be on YouTube. Yeah, I don't think I've ever tried. I've just watched it in various Sol Campbell over Terry. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Sol Campbell doesn't. There's something about him charismatically. He doesn't get talked about a lot, but he was awesome for us, captain. So Campbell has won the double, and the boys from the lane have won fuck all again. And so Campbell has won the double. North London derby. Maldini, Nesta, Baresi, yeah. Who's the other one? Cannavaro. Bit later, obviously. Yeah, Maldini was absurd for real. Look who he defended against. Yeah, one of them was Diego Maradona, just saying. Yeah, you can't compare sides. This is fair. Yesterday to today sides. Fitness today would win you 99% of games. It's true. It is true. I mean, that's the Wenger revolution, wasn't it? He got extra games for Tony Adams, Steve Bold. He extended their careers by just looking after themselves. It does make you think, what would George Best? I mean, George Best had stopped playing by the time he was 30, pretty much, hadn't he? Brian Robson. I mean, I know it was injuries, but I mean, how many of those injuries were because he was a bit? Shouldn't say it. I'm speaking out of turn. Ronaldo, Brazil. Yeah, R9. Of the Ronaldos, he's my Ronaldo. Have you appreciate the eras? It's just great, isn't it? I mean, could you imagine? I mean, if you could go back in a time machine and watch the Herbert Chapman Arsenal, yeah. I totally get Rob. That's what I'm trying to say. Is like he doesn't get the love, does he? I don't think we ever really warmed to him. Are we a bastard fan base for going, right, we nicked Spurs captain, but he was a bit Spurs. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, he's not Spursy, but he was a bit standoffish, to say the least, wasn't he? Had a good night. Have we all had a good night? Marco, you're working, so that's a bit sucky to be working, but have to appreciate. Don't discount CR7. You're a fan. I think I'm working that out. Like, I'm involved in tennis. Federer and Nadal versus greats like Sampras, etc. It's a hard argument, like who's better, Maradona or Messi, different areas. I don't know much about tennis. I do always enjoy watching tennis. I do always enjoy watching tennis. I do. I like Wimbledon. It's probably we get Wimbledon is on television all the time over here. And I don't watch as much as I should do because I always enjoy tennis. Who was, in your opinion, then the greatest tennis player? Because I just thought everyone thought it was Federer. But Sampras was a machine, wasn't he? And Nadal, for me, we're a bit like Nadal, aren't we? Because if you're born in the era of Federer, that's just harsh. But when I was a kid, it was all McEnroe and Borg. Still, it's a good night. Good man. Felix, Carlos Alberto, Brito, Piazza, Everaldo, Collar, Gerson, Jarzinho, Rivellino, Tostão, and Pele. That was Brazil's 1990 win. The goal where he lays it off, Pele just lays it off. It's just beautiful. Arsenal Fan Circle channel is going live in 5 minutes. Come check them out if you're staying up. I might put that on while I go to sleep. Is it good? Arsenal Fan Circle channel. Well, I better look that up then, don't I? Arsenal Fan Circle. What happened to Luca? Is he still here? I've still got his YouTube channel up. So many of these, I think it's good. Did I scare Luca? If you're still here, I hope you are. I didn't mean to scare you away by saying that you're completely wrong about Arteta. It's just that you are. Or at least I think that from the title. Isn't that bad? Okay, let me just, what's it called? Arsenal Fan Circle channel. Arsenal Fan Circle channel. Why is it called the Arsenal Fan Circle channel? Why is it a circle channel? Oh. Thursday night forum. I'm not crying. You're crying. Injury lol. I like that. Yes, I'll put that on just before I go to bed then. Sampras. What, better than Federer? Agassi was vibes. I love the story about Agassi, who had noticed that Becker always touched a certain side of his cap when he went for a serve and could always read him. And it was years later, and he told him, and Becker was like, I thought you were in my head. Federer's most graceful, but Pistol Pete is right up there with all the greats. Yeah. I love that we all like tennis. Go on. I like Jimmy Connors back in the 70s. Yeah. I like Boris Becker when he won Wimbledon. That was exciting. BX, I forgot about Agassi, but now there's guys like Alcaraz with sports science. Once again. But no, like, what was it? Ilya Nastase, he was a bit before my time, but I've seen him play in the, you call it the Masters. What do they call it when the older guys play? I love that. Depends on your age and era. Best tennis, I mean, like the Federer Nadal matches were great. But for me, the best game of tennis will always be Becker winning Wimbledon as an unseeded 17-year-old or something, wasn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Sports science, of course, the sports science is a real thing, but it's only so far you can go, isn't there? I mean, look at Lamine. Look at the young players coming through now, and then the worry around them. Yeah, we had Ansu Fati when he was at Brighton last season, and you just think, what a shame. Yeah, Wenger absolutely brought it to England. Like creatine and not allowed Mars bars, and you weren't allowed to booze. And is it better for all that though? Do we miss the old having a kebab at half time? Do we miss all that? Tell you the truth, look, we're Arsenal fans, we're football fans. We would probably watch it if they all started drinking booze at half time. And it's just football. You love it or you don't love it. And on that bombshell, I'm going to go off and fall asleep to the strains of Thursday Night Forum. I'm not crying, you're crying. Injury lull threatens North London derby. Sean Dyche to Arsenal then. What a great place to leave it. To all of you who have made this such an enjoyable evening. Remember to join us before the Southampton-Manchester United game if you can. Marco, try and be on time this time, please. Can't be waiting 3 hours for you every single time. I hope work isn't too stressful for you. Zanzibarian, BX Gunner 81, Rob Reed, Coach Jordash, who has driven the conversation. Got a little bit CR7 there, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Look at all of you guys. Rob Reed, I mean, like, just so pleased that you choose to come and hang out here. Luca AFC obviously disappeared as soon, but it's great to see you. Mr. Arsenal podcast, have subscribed. Who is this Arsenal fan circle? Is one of you guys in this, or is it just random? A more Armored Core 6 Rocks was here. Didn't say a lot. Some of you don't like to say much. It's all right. You're allowed to come and chill. Coach Jordash has been the star of the night, I would say, if I was giving awards, which I'm not. Edosari will be here, hopefully, to watch the... yeah. Good night, lads, from Marco. And hey, lads, take care, everyone, from BX Gunner 81. I'm going to give you all accents you don't have. Thanks, sir. We'll try, man. You better be there. Won't be the same without you, Marco. It's not worth doing it if you guys don't turn up. I'll see you hopefully 12 noon tomorrow. TTFN one and all, keep safe. Come on, you Gunners, since 66. Good group. Never mind Tony, though. He's stoned, lol. Which one's Tony? I'm going to have a guess which one Tony is. Well, there's two. Yeah, Yeah. I'm jumping over now. See you all there. BX Gunner, see you there. And from the bottom of my heart, guys, thank you so much. Come on, you Gunners. And this is the bit Red Eye Gooner will love. This is a bit, if you're watching nearly 4 hours, it's a bit where I say goodbye, click end stream, and then there's this